I've been deep stated. Wow, right at that moment. That was crazy. Let me know when we're back, I guess. Boy. We go back over here. I got retweeted by Matt Taibbi. So I have like hundreds of replies. I'm going through and sending everybody an invitation to come be on the Troll Patrol. Because that's what I be doing. Trolling. I am here, aren't I? Am I back? Okay, it says I'm back. So weird. Apparently my internet dropped for like a split second there. Very weird. Princess Kimberly, Curiouser, DJ Dub, welcome in. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about tonight. The people defending Trump for reasons unknown to sane and reasonable minds. You want Trump to be guilty, but he's not. Insanity. No, I think it was on me. I still haven't called my internet service provider and gotten a new modem. This modem does not work well, which I unplugged the modem and just stick the cord in. These people telling me I don't care about truth and shit. It's just fucking wild. But hey, Matt Taibbi, let me get to that here. I extend to you. You used to be one of my favorite reporters. I would love to have you come on and explain the topic that we're getting ready to talk about here. We're going to lead off with it. Newly released memo, unclassified, unsealed documents from the Director of National Intelligence apparently accuse Obama of committing treason. At least that's what they keep trying to say. I think it's 100% a distraction from all the Epstein stuff we're going to talk about. Matt Taibbi retweeting me earlier. So let's see what my actual claim is here. But that's Trump's claim now that they didn't interfere. They are taking the idea that the intelligence community told Obama that Russia didn't interfere with the vote tallies, that Russia didn't hack any machines, and they are saying that that is proof that there was no Russian collusion is not the right word for it. It's getting into semantics here. I had an argument with the dudes like, oh, they hacked the election. The Democrats kept saying they hacked the election. I'm like, yeah, that's just a shorthand for the social media campaign and the hacking of the DNC and the dumping of their emails. That's what people are saying when they say Russia hacked the election in 2016. They're talking about those two things, which have been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt. But Trump's claim now is that they didn't interfere whatsoever, and it's been proven that it was to help Trump. Matt Taibbi is telling me I'm wrong. There's no claim that Russia didn't conduct an influence campaign. I believe that's exactly what Trump is saying. I couldn't find the exact clip, but I didn't have time either. But I'm pretty sure I've heard Trump say, oh, it's all a hoax. The whole thing was a hoax. What's disputed, though, this is what Matt Taibbi is saying, is that Putin aspired to help Trump, for whom he had a clear preference. The evidence used to make that claim is now debunked. I see nothing that debunks that claim. And I'm pretty sure that claim has been verified by both the Mueller report and the Senate Intelligence Committee report. So as I said in the original post, Matt Taibbi knows that this is wrong. In brutal document release, the Russia hoax is finally exposed. The claim that Vladimir Putin aspired to help Donald Trump, for whom he had a clear preference, was based on bogus evidence. And you know for a fact that's not true, Matt. So I would love it if you come on and explain to us exactly what the claim is, because it's now moved the goalposts. Because on Monday, it was just Tulsi saying that, oh, Obama knew they didn't interfere with the vote tally. And then today we've got the new bombshell brutal document release. And I'm sure all of this has nothing to do with the fact that Trump is deep in shit with his own base. Justice Department told Trump in May that his name is among many in the Epstein files. So as I'm having this conversation with all these people, they're like, well, they lied about Russia's influence in the election. They lied about this. They lied about that. That's treason. And I'm like, you know, Trump did that in the 2020 election, right? Literally lied about what happened. Said Democrats manipulated the votes. Literally. And Che Guevara or some shit? No, it was Hugo Chavez. It was the ghost of Hugo Chavez was out here rigging voting machines. Literally what Trump claimed in 2020. And not a one of you guys give a shit about that. So Obama committed treason by, and like the one dude I finally like nailed down, he's like, well, Obama didn't come out and say that Russia hacked the election, but he insinuated it, and then people went on cable news and they insinuated it, and that ended up with 2/3 of Democrats thinking Russia hacked voting machines. And I'm like, I don't, public opinion polls don't mean shit to me, because most of America is stupid. And most of America isn't paying attention to this shit. So some opinion poll showing that 2/3 of Democrats thought that Russia actually hacked into, they tried. There's evidence that they tried to hack into election machines, into voting machines. But there is no evidence that they pulled it off. But Trump literally lied about the 2020 election. Did far worse than what you are accusing of. On face value, what you guys are accusing the Obama administration of doing, far less, if I take the claim on face value, and I don't, far less than what Trump did in 2020. Explain it to me. Please, I would love it. Any right-wingers, any of you on Twitter that I shared my info with, that may be watching this stream right now, I would love for you to call in 917-830-4359. Explain it to me. You can get in the Discord with me. The links are down in the description. Chat will give you the Discord link. Come on, explain it to me. Because as far as I can tell, it is just him distracting from the fact that he's a fucking pedophile. And you guys can't accept facts because you voted for a fucking pedophile. You got taken in by a pedophile con man, and you helped keep him out of prison. And you should be fucking ashamed of yourselves. Money doesn't matter, rich people. Looks don't matter, attractive people. Thirsty dog. I don't know why this meme has cracked me up every time I've looked at it. I'm not high enough for this shit. Woo! Warlord, welcome in. Yeah, come in. Come in, take a shot at me while it pops up on the screen and shows you support me. What is it? 38 months straight. Leftist grifter at it again. I guess it's not 38 months straight. I was banned from Twitch for about a year. The year before the election, too. Worked out great for me. Come on, right wingers. None of you want to call in. We're going to have to do the news. I just want to be lazy and just talk to an idiot on the phone. But apparently, none of you have any balls. Shelly, welcome in. Matt Schlapp. We could be talking about Matt Walsh, who once called me a formidable voice in the culture.
JustinFREAKIN is a formidable voice in the culture.
But we were actually talking about Matt Taibbi, who just retweeted me about an hour ago. Oh, I didn't run down what we're going to talk about, did I? You'll just have to be surprised. I went on a rant about Matt Taibbi. So you can just be surprised by what that news be doing.
So much. So Fannie Willis and Jack Smith separately, they both charged President Trump with conspiracy to defraud the United States and a conspiracy to overturn the 2020 election. And now it turns out we're confirming that Obama and his cronies were doing that the whole time on a massive scale, falsifying documents and having their intel agencies do this. What does
falsifying documents? Look at, like, this must be an actual reporter. Look at this woman. She's like, seriously? Because this dude's like Newsmax or OAN, maybe some podcaster or some shit. But 100% wrong.
What does this say about the 2020 election? And also, yeah, what's your thoughts on the irony here?
There is a lot of irony, especially for the party of the Democrat Party, who claims to be for democracy. We often heard
no irony.
In the 2024 campaign, they were calling this president a threat to democracy. And now I think the declassification of all of these documents proves that they were indeed the true threat to democracy. And as I said repeatedly today, there needs to be justice and accountability for that. You all will hear directly from the president later this afternoon at the AI Summit here in Washington, D.C., scheduled to speak later in a few hours. So we will see you all there. Thank you.
I didn't see any clips circulating, but it had probably just ended about the time I was getting ready to do my show. He was on about 4 o'clock, 4:30, I think. She brought out Tulsi Gabbard to go over the accusations. I do have a document that I think this came from.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. At President Trump's direction and with the support and coordination with the House.
Also, as a lot of people pointed out, this graphic that was shared out by the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, today, looks like a QAnon meme.
Committee Chairman Rick Crawford. Today we've released a declassified Oversight Majority Staff report that was produced in September of 2020. The stunning revelations that we are releasing today should be of concern to every American. This is not about Democrats or Republicans. This has to do with the integrity of our democratic republic and American voters having faith that the votes cast will count. There is irrefutable evidence that detail how President Obama and his national
irrefutable
directed the creation of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false. They knew it would promote this contrived narrative that Russia interfered in the 2016 election to help President Trump win, selling it to the American people as though it were true. It wasn't. The report that we released today shows in great detail how they carried this out. They manufactured findings from shoddy sources. They suppressed evidence and credible intelligence that disproved their false claims. They disobeyed traditional tradecraft intelligence community standards and withheld the truth from the American people. In doing so, they conspired to subvert the will of the American people who elected Donald Trump in that election in November of 2016. They worked with their partners in the media to promote this lie, ultimately to undermine the legitimacy of President Trump and launching what would be a years-long coup against him and his administration. We're here today because the American people deserve the truth, They deserve accountability and they deserve justice. The records that we released on Friday that were ODNI records, Senator Chuck Grassley's release on Monday of what is known as the Clinton Annex, which was an appendix to the Department of Justice Office of Inspector General's 2018 report, as well as the House Intelligence Committee's majority oversight report that we're releasing today, all come back to and confirm the same report. There was a gross politicization and manipulation of intelligence by the Obama administration intended to delegitimize President Trump even before he was inaugurated, ultimately usurping the will of the American people.
Bullshit.
I'm going to go over the key findings from the House Intelligence Report, which investigated the claims that were made by an intelligence community assessment ordered by President Obama and published in January of 2017. First, Putin's principal interests
Pay close attention to her language.
relating to the 2016 election were to undermine faith in the U.S. democratic process, not show any preference of a certain candidate. In fact, this report shows Putin held back from leaking compromising material on Hillary Clinton prior to the election, instead planning to release it after the election to weaken what Moscow viewed as an inevitable Clinton presidency. In the January 2017 intelligence community assessment that President Obama ordered, John Brennan, who was CIA director at the time, and the intelligence community intentionally suppressed intelligence that showed Putin was saving the most damaging material that he had in his possession about Hillary Clinton until after her potential and
What was this damaging material? Please tell me, what was the damaging material that Putin had?
likely victory. The report goes into great detail about the information that Russia...
And that also wouldn't negate that that he was wanting to help Trump. Just because he believed Hillary would win, like everyone else did, doesn't mean that he wasn't trying to actively help Trump.
And Putin had, on Hillary Clinton, which included possible criminal acts, like secret meetings with multiple named U.S. religious organizations in which State Department officials offered, in exchange for supporting Secretary Clinton's campaign for the presidency, significant increases in financing from the State Department. They also had documents that showed the patronage of the State Department to State Department employees who would go and support Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. There were high-level DNC emails that detailed evidence of Hillary's, quote, psycho-emotional problems, uncontrolled fits of anger, aggression, and cheerfulness, and that then Secretary Clinton was allegedly on a daily regimen of heavy tranquilizers. Then CIA Director Brennan and the intelligence community mischaracterized intelligence and relied on dubious substandard sources to create a contrived false narrative that Putin developed a quote-unquote clear preference for Trump. Brennan and the IC misled lawmakers by referencing the debunked Steele dossier to assess quote-unquote Russia's plans and intentions, falsely suggesting that this dossier had intelligence value when he knew that it was discredited.
Whoa.
Intelligence-
Parts of the dossier was described, but once again, these people are mischaracterizing what that document is. It was opposition research. It contained like a confidence assessment. Said that the P-tape was low confidence, but that this was a rumor that was out there. And I still don't disbelieve it. I wouldn't doubt there is a P-tape out there, especially when like people think that it's about him getting peed on by hookers. That's not what it was. It was that he hired hookers to piss on a bed that Obama slept in. Totally believe that. Totally believe that. You think that sounds out of the realm of possibility for Trump?
Community excluded significant intelligence and ignored or selectively quoted reliable intelligence that contradicted the intelligence community assessment's key findings on Putin's alleged support for Trump. Including this intelligence reporting would have exposed the ICA's claim as implausible, if not ridiculous. The intelligence community assessment omitted reliably sourced information, such as how some Russian intelligence officials were quote-unquote planning for candidate Hillary Clinton's victory, while others assessed neither Trump nor Clinton would respect Russia's interests. As was reflected in the ODNI documents that we released on Friday, multiple intelligence community assessments released in the months leading up to the November 2016 election concluded that Russia had neither the intent nor capability to impact the outcome of the U.S. election. On December 5th.
Yep. That's the, remember I told you, pay attention to Smokey. Stop it, buddy. I told you to pay attention to her wording. That statement came from this document. That's the one she's citing. I took the intent of this email to get the basic starting point regarding Russia. We agree with Russia probably is not and will not trying to influence the election by using cyber means to manipulate computer-enabled election infrastructure. Yes, if we're going further, while Russia has some capability to conduct cyber manipulation of election infrastructure, we judge that efforts by them or others to change the outcome of the election through cyber means would be detected. That's a key element of our cyber-focused PDB. We assess that foreign adversaries, notably Russia, are more likely to focus their cyber operations on undermining credibility, public confidence. That assessment feeds directly into the influence operations, some cyber-enabled, that we've seen related to current and historic election cycles. We concur with CIA's charge related to that. So what she's doing is cherry-picking statements out of these documents and then mischaracterizing what they actually say.
Of 2016, the FBI and ODNI gave the House Intelligence Committee its first post-election classified briefing, in which there was no mention of Putin aspiring to elect Trump by either agency. The Presidential Daily Brief, drafted on December 8th of 2016, stated that no Russian or criminal actors impacted vote counts. This document was pulled just hours before it was to be published due to quote-unquote new guidance. If it had been published, it would have been briefed to both President Obama and President-elect Donald Trump. On December 9th, 2016, a National Security Council meeting was called to gather President Obama's senior national security officials, which included CIA Director Brennan, then Obama DNI James Clapper, Susan Rice, and others. Following that secret meeting, DNI Clapper's assistant sent an email to the intelligence community with the subject line, POTUS tasking on Russia election meddling, tasking ODNI leaders to create a new assessment per the president's request. The House Intelligence Committee Oversight Report that we released today reveals that, quote, unlike routine intelligence community analysis, the intelligence community assessment was a high-profile product ordered by the president, President Obama. It directed senior intelligence community agency heads and created an intelligence community assessment limited to just 5 analysts, using one principal drafter. This is not something that occurs in the normal path of producing an intelligence community assessment that reflects the views across the intelligence community. The production of this intelligence community assessment was subject to unusual directives directly from the president and senior political appointees, especially the former director of the CIA, John Brennan. The House Intelligence Committee Oversight Report also shows how later that same day, on December 9th, Brennan ordered the publication of quote-unquote substandard reporting on Russian activities, which had previously been withheld from publication of prior assessments because the information was judged, quote, to have not met long-standing publication standards. Some of the information later used in the Obama-ordered assessment over the objections of veteran CIA officers was, quote-unquote, unclear or from unknown sources. The Intelligence Committee's Oversight Report reveals that CIA Director Brennan overruled senior CIA officers who challenged the Obama-ordered intelligence assessment, stating, quote, we don't have direct information that Putin wanted to get Trump elected. Yet, the Obama-directed assessment was published on January 6, 2017, which explicitly stated, quote, we assess Putin and the Russian government aspired to help President-elect Trump's election chances when possible by discrediting Secretary Clinton and publicly contrasting her unfavorably to him, end of quote. The CIA and FBI, then led by John Brennan and James Comey, expressed high confidence in this judgment, while the NSA expressed moderate confidence. Yet, as the report we released today shows, The ICA, the Intelligence Community Assessment, did not cite any report where Putin indicated helping Trump win was an objective. The opposite is true. With regards to the Steele
The opposite is true.
know
He
that one
wanted
of
to
the
help
source
Hillary win.
the Obama administration used in the creation of this intelligence assessment in January of 2017 was none other than the discredited, unverified Steele dossier. The House Intel report states, quote, contradicting public...
It wasn't just the Steele dossier, and not all of it was discredited. Like 70% of it was true or something. Once again, this was opposition research that was compiled and had like moderate confidence, low confidence, yada yada, with all of the claims that it had in it. It was like an intelligence document. Tulsi is just blatantly lying.
claims by then CIA Director Brennan that the dossier was not in any way incorporated into this intelligence assessment. The dossier was referenced in the intelligence assessment's main body text and further detailed in a 2-page assessment annex. John Brennan lied, and he denied using this dossier in this intelligence assessment that President Obama ordered because he knew it was discredited. It was a politically motivated, manufactured document. He directed senior CIA officials to use it anyway. CIA officer told the House Intelligence Committee staff as they investigated this, quote, the director of the CIA, John Brennan, refused to remove it, and when confronted with the dossier's many flaws, responded, quote, yes, but doesn't it ring true? Even the bipartisan Senate Select Committee on Intelligence report published in 2020.
So I have seen that in the document that Tulsi released. I haven't seen the original document. Because in the document that Tulsi released, once again, there's like a redaction. That's not the whole thing that was said. So it's just a part of a conversation that I think she is mischaracterizing. But I haven't had a chance, because this was just released like 4 hours ago, 5 hours ago, to actually go through. I had a thread on Twitter earlier that had like each of the documents and each of the claims that Tulsi was making that I was trying to, I thought I bookmarked it and I didn't, and now I can't fucking find it. That's when Matt Taibbi retweeted me.
Criticized the FBI's handling of the Steele dossier, noting its completely unverified nature and purposeful sidestepping of intelligence community procedures in its use. Now, President Obama, Hillary Clinton, John Brennan, James Clapper, James Comey, and others, including their mouthpieces in the media, knowingly lied as they repeated the contrived narrative that was created in this January 2017 intelligence community assessment with high confidence as though it were fact. John Brennan, as CIA director, stated in a memo to his agency staff in December of 2016, saying, quote, there is strong consensus among us on the scope, nature, and intent of Russian interference in our presidential election. This was reported by NBC News, confirming that Brennan, along with James Clapper and James Comey, agreed with the CIA's assessment that Russia intervened to help Trump win the presidency. As Obama's Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper was tasked with overseeing the creation of this assessment in January of 2017 by President Obama, and he expressed confidence in its findings. In a 2018 interview with the Harvard Gazette, he talked about how he provided Trump with the same classified assessment that President Obama received, which included the high confidence judgment that Putin directly ordered the hacking and election interference. Clapper then went on
Yes!
I think the Russians, actually influenced the outcome. This is
I think it's possible.
Details that you'll find within the House Majority Staff's report in their investigation into the Obama-directed January 2017 Intelligence Community Assessment that leads us to the very same conclusion that we announced in the release of our documents on Friday. The implications of this are far-reaching and have to do with the integrity of our democratic republic. It has to do with an outgoing president taking action to manufacture intelligence to undermine and usurp the will of the American people in that election and launch what would be a years-long coup against the incoming President of the United States, Donald Trump. Thank you.
That never happened. Projection on their part, as they absolutely launched a years-long coup against the incoming President Joe Biden after 2020. It's just insane. I feel like I'm going insane. Holy fuck. Obama has responded.
The former president calling out President Trump in a way that we have not seen before, slamming what he calls the, quote, bizarre and, quote, ridiculous allegations Trump made against him in the Oval Office just hours ago. So here's some of what Trump said.
The witch hunt that you should be talking about is they caught President Obama absolutely cold, Tulsi Gabbard. What they did to this country in 2016, starting in 2016, but going up to 2020 in the election. They tried to rig the election. We found this isn't like evidence this is like proof, irrefutable proof that Obama was seditious, that Obama was trying to lead a coup.
Seditious.
All right, trying to lead a coup. Now, usually anyone associated with Obama just ignores all that. They don't respond. But that is not what happened this time. Obama's spokesperson responded in part, and I quote, "Out of respect for the office of the presidency, our office does not normally dignify the constant nonsense and misinformation flowing out of this White House with a response, but these claims are outrageous enough to merit one. These bizarre allegations are ridiculous and a weak attempt at distraction." Jamal Simmons is out front now, and the former Republican governor of Minnesota, Tim Pawlenty. All right, I appreciate both of you very much. So, Jamal, look, this is a change to come from Team Obama. It's a spokesperson, okay, but it's a change. And to come out and to speak like that, bizarre allegations are ridiculous and a weak attempt at distraction.
Seditious.
Now, Trump said that Obama was trying to stage a coup, so that's what caused this. But what do you think, how significant of a departure is this for Obama to actually say, okay, we're going to respond?
Well, first of all, it's pretty rich that the man who was sort of affiliated with the January 6th insurrection
honestly
was the one accusing people of trying to stage a coup. Obama, about a few days ago, came out and went after Democrats and said, it's time for Democrats to be, to speak
but
up.
The party told you to reject what you saw with your own eyes.
And to not do so much navel gazing. He did that at a fundraiser. And so I think a lot of Democrats said, well, a lot of people are speaking up. They're marching, they're stepping up. And where are you at, President Obama? And so now I think we see President Obama stepping up too. And so he's stepping up and saying something to the American public. He refuses to sit back and allow Donald Trump to accuse him of leading a coup. And remember, it wasn't just what he said, Trump said in the Oval Office, President Trump said. He also released a video on his social media network showing Barack Obama being arrested in the Oval Office and carried out in handcuffs.
It was an AI-generated video, right? Yeah. And maybe that was part of what prompted the actual response here. It is a change, all right? And it's a change coming from the former president. So it matters in that respect. And Governor Pawlenty, Speaker Johnson is now saying that he would not be opposed to subpoenaing Obama to testify before Congress over these allegations. Here he is.
We have no concern about that. If it's uncomfortable for him, he shouldn't have been involved in overseeing this, which is what it appears to us has happened. There's a lot of allegations on the table. Our job is to go and follow each of those trails and to find out the truth.
The truth.
Coming in the context of the changing of the topic going on in Washington, especially with Johnson away from Epstein. But Governor, I'm curious as to whether you think Obama now taking a sharper tone and stepping up as opposed to being quiet and trying to take the high road, is it too little too late, or does it matter for Democrats?
I don't think the party gives a shit about him.
Presidents always try to be a little measured as to when and how they respond to their successors. President Obama has been pretty muted in that regard, with a few exceptions. But in this case, President Trump called him out directly, and President Obama answered the bell and swung back. Aaron, like you, I read the Mueller report. It basically concluded that the Russians did try to interfere with the election, but there was no actual proof of coordination in that regard. I'm not aware, nor have I seen any public reporting, that President Obama somehow ordered something inappropriate relative to that investigation. If Tulsi Gabbard or the president...
Yeah, remember, Mueller was
that kind of evidence...
a Trump appointment for special counsel.
Seems like puffery.
All right. Well, absolutely. That, and certainly not helpful in the political climate we're in this country. But Jamal, Obama fighting back, and I hear the governor saying, look, this was specific and something specific perhaps merited a response. And maybe we don't read into it an overall change. But there are so many in the Democratic Party saying, come on, where is the leadership? Who is going to be the standard bearer of that party? And someone who has certainly seems to be trying to take that on in different ways is Gavin Newsom from
Oh my God.
Constantly going after Trump after for a while tacking the other way to say, well, I'm going to talk to Bannon. I'm going to talk to all these people. I'm going to figure it out. But now he's posting things about Epstein and Trump. And he just said this about Trump and his immigration policies.
It's a weakness masquerading as strength. That's what I don't like about this son of a. I don't. And forgive me, I know he's the president of the States. Forgive me, I didn't, yeah, he calls me new scum. Come on.
So what do you think of that, Jamal?
Well, I think he's conflicted about how hard to go to use profanity. But listen, I think Gavin Newsom is the one Democrat I hear the most about from people who don't work in Washington and don't work in politics.
What?
I hear about Gavin Newsom is because he's out there and really taking on.
I feel like you're only hearing about Gavin Newsom from people that work in politics or the media. Oh my God.
On Trump in a really forceful way. He'll go anywhere, Fox News or any other channel, and he'll do anything to kind of make his case. And I think a lot of Democrats are looking for somebody, it's not really about policy, but somebody who's got the attitudinal toughness who will take on Trump. We'll see how that works.
Like Bernie.
We have seen this in California. His poll numbers have gone up from 38% to about 56% because I think voters like to see him taking on Trump and not just sitting back and trying to find a middle road.
Do you think Gavin Newsom has it right, Governor?
I think Governor Newsom is an energetic and gifted communicator, but his policies suck. I mean, can you imagine him running in Pennsylvania and Ohio and Wisconsin and places that are going to decide the next president?
Oh, because he's too leftist. God damn.
Presidential election. He's got a long history of ultra-left policies in California and in San Francisco, and I just don't see how that's going to sell nationally, notwithstanding his gifted oratory.
This is Tim Pawlenty. Come get your former governor, DJ Dub.
Of which he has. I don't know if calling someone a son of a you-know-what might go in that category, but he does have those skills, whether you count that or not.
Aaron, are we in the policy era? I just don't know that we're in the policy era anymore.
No, we're certainly not in the policy era.
We've moved to a different phase of the game. And I think this phase of the game, frankly, is not that nice.
Well, I say that, but clearly Mamdani proved that, policy that appeals to working class individuals actually wins. We live in a hyper-capitalist, late capitalist society, and policy doesn't matter to millionaires on CNN.
No. Well, that's
although if you look at why Trump, Aaron, when you look at why Trump won the last election, besides his oversized personality, inflation, immigration, crime, wokeness run amok. Those are policies.
No, misinformation about inflation, crime, and immigration is what won Trump the election. My God. This dude is pissing me off here. Do I have the chart? There we go. And I need to put it in my charts and graphs. Misinformed views on immigration, crime, and the economy correlated with ballot choice. If you thought violent crimes were at or near all-time highs, you were likely to vote Republican. If you knew the correct answer, that it was near all-time lows, you were likely to vote Democrat. If you thought that inflation in the U.S. had declined over the last year, true, then you were likely to vote Democrat. If you thought that inflation had reached all-time highs, you were likely to vote Republican. If you thought the stock market was at or near all-time highs, you were likely to vote Democrat. If you thought that Biden had crashed the stock market, you were likely to vote Republican. And the last one was over the last few months, unauthorized border crossings at the U.S.-Mexican border are at or near the lowest level since the Trump administration, the first Trump administration. That was the correct sentiment. If you believed that, you were likely to vote Democrat. If you believed the opposite, that we had a invasion at the border, wonder why you might believe that, then you were likely to vote Republican. 100% misinformation. Right-wingers are morons. Dumb fuck on CNN.
Right.
It was supposedly a Democratic governor.
All right. Thank you both. I appreciate it and see you both soon.
We here at the arena just got a statement in.
Oh, shut up. Republicans aren't living in reality. And that's the weird thing is they accuse you of not living in reality because you, who lives in reality and knows what's going on, tell them something that conflicts with what they are being fed nonstop on. And it's, if you're hearing it from Patrick Bet-David, this billionaire, successful businessman, and you've got successful businessman Trump in the White House, and you got Joe Rogan, the most successful podcaster ever, and you just like, you're reinforced. All your friends, all the memes you see on Facebook, everything just reinforces your worldview. I understand when you hear someone like me tell you like, hey man, crime is at all-time lows. Like fucking... And also, right-wingers make a personality out of their politics. Like, to tell me I'm wrong on an issue doesn't like make my entire worldview crumble. It isn't like my personality isn't hinged on the fact that I have a certain belief. Right-wingers, a lot of them do that. It is their entire person. I wish you were a fucking mod so I didn't have to approve you all the time. Oh, God. Curious and I were talking earlier, and she apologized to me for coming in. And like, she accused me of not honoring Ozzy and Theo. She came in, we were watching that Eddie Murphy clip. And I was like, we just watched Ozzy and Black Sabbath, and we watched 4 episodes of The Cosby Show. And I played Sweet Leaf every 420, and she's like, I'm sorry. I'm going to go commit Harukari with my mod sword. That cracked me up. If you're getting your information, and one, if you believe that Tim Pool is a straight down the middle, nonpartisan, you think he's out here, or even you think Tim Pool's a liberal. He's a liberal that's telling you the truth. And then you hear him say stupid shit like this.
On a mugshot, at least. That's like the bare minimum.
Well, so you're saying arrest?
Yes, there needs to be arrest because, listen, we've been playing these games for quite some time now, and unfortunately, we haven't seen much movement from the DOJ. I mean, we've known all of this. Everything that's come out from, Gabbert's team, which I'm so thankful that it has, we've all known about these things for quite some time now, and so there should have been a blueprint by the DOJ on if they have a special prosecutor going on or how they were going to go about making these arrests or...
Who is this dipshit?
First, because obviously Barack Obama would be the last arrest that they'd make. They'd want some individuals who are surrounding him to turn on him quick. And so I hope they have a plan in place. I don't hear of any grand juries going on. Obviously in DC you'd hear about it, but outside of DC I haven't heard of any grand juries going on. So I'm a little concerned that we're kind of playing catch up here, but also I can't wait for Barack Obama to try to sit there and play the presidential immunity argument here and say that he can't be prosecuted because he can be, and he's obviously been a part of the lawfare before, so it'll be interesting to hear.
So I understand that there are going to be obviously people on X that are going to try to make that argument. Do you think that Barack Obama would actually try to make that argument? I do think that he's a little more sophisticated than the average partisan.
By the way, you've got complete motherfucking dipshits here. And that girl, who the fuck, like, is she even 30 years old? What does she know about anything? And they're sitting here, like, debating the legal arguments about a dude who is literally a constitutional scholar.
Poster on X. Do you think Obama would?
I think if the walls start closing in, if the people around him start to turn, then yes, I think he'd have to make the argument of presidential immunity. But from what I'm understanding is there's probably more evidence in regards to when he left the White House and how he kept everything kind of going still. So presidential immunity wouldn't apply for that.
I think it's all fake, to be honest.
Yeah.
What do you think is fake?
I'm done believing any of this, the posting of memes and the making of claims. I'm half kidding. I know people are going to take it very, very seriously. What I'm saying is I'm beginning to doubt that there is any intention in going after these people.
Oh, he doesn't doubt the claims. He doesn't doubt the dubious claims being thrown on him by the Trump administration and dumbass Tulsi Gabbard. No, he doubts that they're actually going to follow through. He thinks that the claims are true, but the Republicans are feckless. Not that they're not going to follow through on it because the claims are just barren. They have no validity whatsoever. Wow. Tim. Holy shit. I was about to give you credit. Tim.
Understanding is there's probably more evidence in regards to when he left the White House and how he kept everything kind of going still. So presidential immunity wouldn't apply for that.
I think it's all fake, to be honest.
Yeah.
What do you think is fake?
I'm done believing any of this, the posting of memes and the making of claims. I'm half kidding. I know people are going to take it very, very seriously. What I'm saying is I'm beginning to doubt that there is any intention in going after these people. And the reason I bring that up is, although we are seeing some movement from the Trump DOJ, it's, 1% of the actual power they have and could move on. I mean, you take a look at how the Biden DOJ went after Trump's lawyers, went after Trump himself and lied and made things up.
What lie?
You mean to tell me that Trump's sitting there being like, I guess we'll figure out in time? They didn't wait. They literally just said, go arrest all his lawyers and make the charges up.
Wow. Go arrest all his lawyers and make charges up. It's so easy being a right-winger because, that takes zero skill, talent, research, no intellectual curiosity whatsoever. And he even kind of admitted that he gets all his information from memes. He said it. Meanwhile, they are, changing their tune from what they said in 2019 during the first Trump administration.
We need to stop these other.
This is 2024.
Russia's not the only one. There are others from trying to influence the American people in our elections.
I accept our intelligence community
2018
conclusion that Russia's meddling in the 2016 election took place.
Their assessment of 2016 is accurate. It's 100% accurate. The Russians interfered in our elections. Not only that, I believe they will do so again in the future.
We need to stop these other foreign countries.
Now, of course, Matt Taibbi told me they're not actually making the claim that Russia didn't interfere, just that Obama directed the CIA to make up evidence that they were doing it on behalf of Trump. But once again, this even if taking their accusations at face value, what they are claiming Obama did, nowhere near what they're claiming. I don't even think Obama did it. What they are claiming doesn't come anywhere near close to what Trump has been proven to do in the 2020 election. And I feel like it's the Nazi tactic of accuse the other side of what you were guilty of. But let's see. This is Trump's Deputy Attorney General. This is Pam Bondi's second in charge in front of a House committee hearing.
Ms. Dillon, who won the 2020 election for president?
Senator, I previously testified on this matter.
I'm sorry, Senate.
Biden was declared the winner of that election, and I honor that and respect that.
So, but you can't say he won.
I mean, he was a president for 4 years. He clearly was a president.
Most of us know that. I'm asking if he won.
I've answered your question, Senator.
Oh, yeah, so this is the new senator from Vermont. That's right, he was in the House. That's why I was confused. He is just recently assumed the role of senator from Vermont.
You can't say he won.
I mean, he was a president for 4 years. He clearly was a president.
Most of us know that. I'm asking if he won.
I've answered your question, Senator.
But you haven't.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a question about Texas redistricting. Ms. Dillon, who won?
We're going to have to talk about Texas redistricting.
For president?
Senator, I previously testified on this matter. President Biden was declared the winner of that election, and I honor that and respect that.
So, but you can't say he won.
I mean, he was a president for 4 years. He clearly was a president.
Most of us know that.
Awkward. I like that he got some laughs.
I've answered your question, Senator.
But you haven't.
Yeah.
Ask you a question about
that awkward pause. God damn. Not the only awkward pause. Senator Kennedy went on Fox News to talk with Kudlow yesterday about, I think it was about Obama.
Before we dig into the Tulsi Gabbard, so forth, I want to clear the air about yesterday and the
hold on, wrong one. This is today's clip. Let me go back up to yesterday's clip.
Jesus loves them, but everybody else thinks everybody else.
Man, you can hear the wheels turning.
More technical problems. That was the same mic as we lost with Senator Rand Paul. Awful sorry to hear that because everybody respects what Senator John Kennedy has to say. You know,
I'm sure Jesus.
Ain't nobody respect what John Kennedy has to say. I fucking find him funny.
I can't wait to have your cock in my mouth. I'm going to give you the blowjob of your life. Then I want you inside of me.
Don't respect what he has to say.
Jesus loves them, but everybody else thinks everybody else.
The tongue.
Yeah, some more technical problems. That was the same mic as we lost with Senator Rand Paul.
Kudlow's a pro.
Everybody respects what Senator John Kennedy has to say. You know,
Kudlow's a pro.
A lot of lefty medias are saying things they shouldn't say. As I understand it, what happened was your IFB, your wire broke down. And
oh, bullshit! Bullshit! Come on!
Come on, man!
A lot of lefty media saying shit they shouldn't say. After we lived through 4 years of you questioning whether Joe Biden was fit to serve in office. He probably was having a stroke, a little mini stroke or something. He looked completely dumbfounded.
Before we dig into the Tulsi Gabbard, so forth, I want to clear the air about yesterday and the interrupted interview. A lot of lefty medias are saying things they shouldn't say. As I understand it, what happened was your IFB, your wire broke down, and you had a lot of noise in your ear, and you had to stop talking because you couldn't get anything through. Now,
I don't believe it.
Different there. You tell us, but I think that's all that happened. A lot of people are making conclusions about your health that they have no business making, sir.
Well, yesterday I was on your show. I enjoyed it. I was just yapping away, and all of a sudden, my earpiece blew up. This one, it sounded like a a 747 was taking off. Man, my ears are still ringing. Anyway, so I assumed we were up there. I just stopped talking, and I didn't start talking again until I could hear you. And I don't know, some of the rags up here they've got all kind of stories that I had a brain freeze live on TV, or a stroke, or caught an STD live on television.
He caught an STD live on television. Well, sir, if you didn't go around sucking everybody's cock.
I can't wait to have your cock in my mouth. I'm going to give you the blowjob of your life. Then I want you inside of me. Live on TV, or a stroke, or caught an STD live on television or something. I don't know. I know this will come as a shock to you, Larry, but not everybody in Washington likes me. And so when they can see an opportunity to try to start a rumor, they do. And that's what happened. But anyway, I'm okay. I'm here. I'm back here today. I'm full of piss and vinegar, and I'm glad to answer your question.
Well, yes, sir.
I would like to gouge open your eye and fill your eye pussy with piss and vinegar. Very tortured to get there. Very tortured to get there. You guys tell me. You think that was just noise in his IFB? Sure. I'm broadcaster. I don't think so.
Jesus loves them, but everybody else thinks. Everybody else.
So I guess
the tongue.
That was the same mic as we lost with Senator.
Everybody else thinks. Everybody else.
And he slows down. Everybody else thinks. No, the reason I would say it is not his IFB is because if somebody had a loud noise in their ear, almost every single person will touch their ear. If there's a loud noise that he couldn't hear from, he would have pulled his IFB out. I've never seen anybody that didn't touch their ear when they had a noise, and he's just fucking.
Everybody else.
So I guess we had.
See, he's not looking like off towards like I would assume there's a cameraman there from Fox News. He's not looking at like a producer that's off camera or anything. He just his eyes kind of roll back in his head.
Else thinks. Everybody else.
That's the McConnell look.
What technical problems? That was the same mic as we lost with Senator Rand Paul. Awful sorry to hear that, because everybody respects what Senator.
That's what we're trying to determine clinically. He says that he just had a loud noise in his IFB. I'm calling bullshit on that. I've never seen anybody. He could have been shitting himself. That's possible. He is an old man. He could be incontinent. I hope that afterwards he had somebody wash his ass.
Life is too short to walk this earth for a crusty asshole. Wash your ass.
Loves them, but everybody else thinks. Everybody else.
So I guess we had some more technical problems. That was the same mic as we lost with Senator Rand Paul.
And also saying that it was a loud noise in his IFB, he would see the feed. He would see himself up on the screen. He would know that he's still on camera. He wouldn't have, like, just because his IFB went out wouldn't mean that he would think that he was off air. I think he might have been having a health issue. I skipped ahead to that one. We weren't done with all the Epstein news from today. Ooh. I assure you that press conference earlier today was to distract from, they probably knew that this was coming out today.
New bombshell reporting from the Wall Street Journal that might explain why Donald Trump appears so anxious and, frankly, flat-footed when it comes to releasing documents related to Jeffrey Epstein. The Wall Street Journal citing senior administration officials in its reporting that when Justice Department officials reviewed what Attorney General Pam Bondi called a, quote, truckload of documents related to Epstein earlier this year, they discovered Donald Trump's name appeared multiple times. From that report, quote, in May, Bondi and her deputy informed the president at a meeting in the White House that his name was in the Epstein files, the official said. Many other high-profile figures were also named, Trump was told. Being mentioned in the records isn't a sign of wrongdoing. The official said in a routine briefing that covered a number of topics and that Trump's appearance in the documents wasn't the focus. Now, in response to this reporting in the Wall Street Journal, the White House has issued a statement to NBC News that reads, quote, the fact is that the president kicked him out of his club for being a creep. This is nothing more than a...
That is not a fact. That comes from Epstein's attorney who wrote a book. He says that Trump kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. There is no documentation. There's no reporting. There is nothing that verifies that. And there's actually Jeffrey Epstein's own words which dispute that.
Continuation of the fake news stories concocted by the Democrats and the liberal media, just like the Obama-Russiagate scandal, which President Trump was right about, end quote. That is where we start today with some of our favorite reporters and friends. Staff writer at The Atlantic, Jonathan Chait, is here. Also joining us, MSNBC senior political analyst, my colleague Alex Wagner.
I like Alex, so we'll watch it.
Official of the Department of Justice, MSNBC legal analyst Andrew Weissman is here. Because this story dropped, I want to do a little bit more of letting this sink in for any of our viewers who haven't had a chance to read through it all before I turn this over to all of you. This, importantly, from the Wall Street Journal, which I think days ago found itself on the receiving end of a lawsuit from Donald Trump because of its reporting on this elaborate birthday card and drawing. So important that it's the Journal again out ahead in this story with a new scoop. It reads, Bondi also told the president at this...
By the way, it is confirmed. Trump contacted Rupert Murdoch himself to try to get the story killed, and they still ran it. So I absolutely believe it's true. That lawsuit ain't going to go nowhere because somehow the Wall Street Journal has evidence to back it up.
Meeting that the Justice Department decided to not release more Jeffrey Epstein documents because of the presence of child pornography and the need to protect victims. Trump and Attorney General Bondi, when the Justice Department reviewed what Attorney General Pam Bondi called this truckload of documents related
this is
to
an artist's rendition of what it might have looked like.
Times, as we reported in May, they informed the president of this. The official said it was a routine briefing. This is interesting. Quote, they also told Trump that senior Justice Department officials did not plan to release...
Honestly, wouldn't surprise me, DJ Dub.
...the investigation of the convicted sex offender because the material contained child...
I mean, the idea that the business world, the rich and powerful, the oligarchs that actually run this country, they got what they needed out of Trump. They got their tax cuts are permanent now. They got what they needed out of the trade war, the tariff situation. They implemented Project 2025. Honestly, are they done with Trump now? Would not surprise me.
Pornography and victims' personal information.
They're somehow trying to discipline him.
He would defer to the Justice Department's decision to not release any further files.
Nicole Wallace bringing up that it was the Wall Street Journal breaking this story. Also, the Wall Street Journal that broke the birthday card story. Mr. Steve Bannon not happy with the Wall Street Journal.
And the Wall Street Journal and the Murdochs, as I have warned for years, are true enemies of this movement, true enemies of MAGA, true enemies of the United States, and particularly true enemies of President Trump. The other day, the half-baked story where they dropped it because Tulsi was releasing the first information on Friday to Bigfoot the story with the fake news, phony poem and the phony drawing that they've never shown anybody. Today, Tulsi comes for a command performance, and Caroline Leavitt looked him right in the eye and said, hey, you guys are good. You're paying people that are named in these documents that are guilty of a treasonous conspiracy, right, and a coup against a sitting president, and you're paying them as commentators for the last years and just sit there for 6 or 7 years and hammer every day their lies and misrepresentations, as she's showing. And what does the Wall Street Journal do? Immediately after that, they drop another story about President Trump. Oh, President Trump, you know, he's got this with Epstein. And President Trump and Caroline come out right away and say fake news. The Wall Street Journal is the enemy. They're
That music is playing in the background. Is that his bumper music?
coming after Trump with half-baked fake news, and they're trying to do it every day to Bigfoot. What Tulsi Gabbard's coming out with fact.
Yeah, Mr. Bannon, how about your implication in all this? Remember we heard from Jeff's brother, Mark Epstein, the other day.
Joining us now, NBC News White House correspondent Von Hilliard, MSNBC legal correspondent Lisa Rubin, and New York Times national reporter Mike Baker. Mike, this is your reporting. Give us a little bit more about Maria Farmer, what she told you, and why it's relevant right now.
Yeah, I mean, this was someone who had, a known history with Jeffrey Epstein, having worked for him, been in his orbit, and had developed over time when she was around him all these concerns about these girls that were coming and going, these women that were coming and going supposedly for modeling gigs. And then also to her, these powerful people, Donald Trump being one of them, Bill Clinton being one of them. He was president at the time. And so by the time that she got to the end of her time with Epstein, when she said she was sexually assaulted and then had concerns about her own sister's experience around Epstein, she says she goes to the police. She wants to raise concerns. And it's not just, here's my experience, personal experience, but she really wants the law enforcement to look at this broader circle. Who are all these people? Why are they around him? I don't have any evidence of some wrongdoing here, but she wants to know, like, what's.
I feel like this is the lady we heard the interview from last night.
Why is she?
But it could be a different accuser.
I'm curious about the broader story. Why does she believe that it's relevant to the FBI, to law enforcement, that he has a circle of high-profile, highly powered people around him?
Yeah, I mean, her concern was like she was seeing a lot of alarming things about Jeffrey Epstein and his actions, and
the background remover on him makes him look like a video game character or something.
Powerful people suddenly surrounding him, and I think she just felt like this was something for law enforcement,
like a Sims character,
to address. So she says she just raised all these concerns, and then specifically, as you mentioned, there was this encounter she had with Donald Trump that she describes in 1995. And so when she went to law enforcement in 1996, this was just another thing that she says she wanted to raise and bring up and say, hey, this is something I think you guys should look at a little deeper.
So the interesting thing here, Lisa, is that this is the sort of information that would likely come out, could likely come out, if the Epstein files were released. This one names Donald Trump. You could see some other names in there. But these are people who have not been charged.
Correct.
So you're putting out into the ether what?
You're putting out accusations about them that law enforcement at the time did not consider sufficiently credible or sufficiently criminal to predicate an investigation of their own conduct. Now, I should say some of this information is already in the public domain based on the unsealing of materials, for example, in civil cases involving Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and allegations of sex trafficking. For example, before I came on set with you today, I was reading excerpts of a deposition given by Virginia Roberts Gifford, who has now dead, but was one of the most prominent Epstein accusers. She alleged in portions of her deposition transcripts that were unsealed that she was trafficked to a number of powerful people, and she named some of them in portions of those transcripts that anyone can see on a public docket from the Southern District of New York.
So why would that information?
Yeah, and I believe she said she saw Trump
before now. I mean,
she was trafficked to Prince Andrew.
But why would the administration, the past?
If we're talking about Gouffre,
when the
and she's called her Jeffrey or something.
Why would they not just release it? Say, here's everything that investigators found. The people who aren't charged weren't charged for a reason.
Well, I think, first of all, it's not typical for the Department of Justice to say somebody should be exculpated for conduct that hasn't been proven. What they were interested in at the time was Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell as the leads of this sex trafficking ring that, from all accounts, largely
and we keep leaving it out, but like there's probably a money laundering thing going on here. There's probably all sorts of illegal activity. Like, I feel like the sex trafficking is just the tip of the iceberg.
Existed to satisfy Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein's own desires, not the desires of a larger group of people. The Department of Justice is not in the business of typically saying, hey, look over here at these people who are uncharged. In fact, it's against Department of Justice policy to do so in the ordinary course.
Why in the legal profession would you find it uncomfortable? Why would it make you nervous to release this information when people are demanding it?
Well, I think, first of all, the demands are higher now than they ever have been. But why wouldn't you do it? Because some people would say that their reputation would take a hit by the release.
Don't give a shit.
That it's, not only.
Hey, Lisa. You know, a lot of people would say that some dude that got charged with DUI makes it into the local mugshot paper, that their reputation takes a hit. But nobody seems to get, like, they haven't been convicted of anything when their mugshots appear in the papers. I don't give a shit about rich people's feelings. That information is a public document. If you can print mugshots of people that are behind on their child support or that committed petty theft inside of a Walmart, if you can put their mugshots on a paper before they've even been convicted, then I don't give two shits about these documents and whose reputation might be ruined by it.
Uncomfortable, but it is borderline defamatory for them to be named in it. Think about the Mueller report, which is something that I always go back to when I'm thinking about this, and how many redactions were in that report originally. It's because so many of the people who come up anecdotally throughout that report were never charged. And even though nobody in the report said those people were criminally culpable, to even associate them with that, you could argue would have such an impact on their reputation that it's not worthy of being unredacted. Now here, there are mitigating factors, right? Jeffrey Epstein is dead. The prosecution of Ghislaine Maxwell has been affirmed at least by the Second Circuit. She has a pending cert petition at the Supreme Court right now.
What is a cert petition?
She's asking the Supreme Court to review her conviction. That's up to them to decide whether they're going to or not. She doesn't have an appeal as of right. But we are 6 years past the indictment of Jeffrey Epstein, but there are all sorts of good reasons not to have these people's name in the public domain. But the other thing, Katie, that I would say to you,
you presented one, and
people are really curious about the.
I balked at it.
I can't underscore enough how much of this information is already public, not only through the diligent public reporting of people like Mike or Julie Brown at the Miami Herald, but also on public court dockets where you can read extensive deposition transcripts. It may be that that the far right is worked up about just isn't there.
That is interesting. Vaughn, what is the White House worried about when they are considering what to release and what not to release? Why is the president saying there is no there? Why is the president calling anyone who's demanding this release a week?
Well, it's supposed to be about Steve Bannon.
Suing the Wall Street Journal for $10 billion over a birthday note.
I think it's because of Mike's reporting and the Wall Street Journal's reporting is that there is very clearly more inside of these files that perhaps does not amount to criminal conduct by the sitting president of the United States, but definitely does not paint him in a flattering light. And it only calls into question statements that the president has already historically made on the record about being able to sexually abuse women. This is, for the president, a relationship that he engaged with Jeffrey Epstein, a friendship, a business relationship, whatever you want to call this relationship, one that lasted upwards of 15 years, a lot longer than most friendships.
More.
And I think if you
more than 15.
Going back to 2023, Lisa has been very on point for consistently going back to the E. Jean Carroll trial. The president had the opportunity to testify before a jury to the lawsuit that he had sexually abused E. Jean Carroll. And when presented the opportunity to take the stand and testify, he declined to.
It's weird that why does the reporter not point out Jeffrey Epstein said he talked to Trump while he was in the White House. Jeffrey Epstein himself said he kept contact with Trump, had phone calls with him almost daily while he was in the White House. That puts the relationship to at least 2017.
Do that. And very similar, I think, in this Wall Street Journal lawsuit, the $10 billion one that he has filed against the Dow Jones and the reporters here. If he actually were to try to take this lawsuit to court, they could seek to go and have him sit for a deposition. And I think there's a serious question of whether the president, when presented such opportunities, has consistently tried to not take the stand and not actually put his name under oath. I think that there is a question about what is already in the public record and a history of this president denying things like, for example, with his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, he is denied ever being on that private plane of Jeffrey Epstein. At the same time, flight logs show and suggest that he was on the flight at least 7 times with him.
Yep.
Well, that's interesting. What about this material that Steve Bannon says he has? A number
Here we go.
15 hours of unseen footage of Jeffrey Epstein?
I'm still waiting to hear back from Steve Bannon here Monday afternoon. We first reached out over on Friday, along with Stephanie Ruhle. We're reporting that Steve Bannon has 15 hours plus of footage that he personally shot with Jeffrey Epstein back in 2018, late 2018, early 2019, before Epstein was rearrested. Now, why were these two men working together? Why does Bannon have this 15 hours of footage? Well, Bannon has suggested that early next year,
I would assume that he interviewed him.
he's going to release a documentary showing how Epstein was in the middle of this global cabal at the same time. If we're doing the math, that's 7 years, a time period in which he's had possession of these 15 hours of footage. And Mark Epstein, I talked to him on Friday. He's the brother of Jeffrey Epstein, Katie, and he made the specific request that he wants to see the videotapes that Steve Bannon has. He said that the two men actually met in late 2019, early 2020, after Jeffrey Epstein.
Also, 7 years is the statute of limitations for most crimes. Is Bannon admitting something there?
Died in prison, and that Bannon, according to Mark Epstein, had requested a certain amount of funding to help put this documentary together. Mark Epstein tells me that he declined that invitation. At the same time, he said he hasn't been able to get back in touch with Steve Bannon, and the American public nor the brother of Jeffrey Epstein have seen that footage. Steve Bannon has been publicly calling for the unsealing of all the evidence of special counsel, but he hasn't put forward the own videotapes that he has in his personal possession.
Insane. Bannon's in on it too, isn't he? Ben Measles over at Measles Touch. Dropping this video of deposition. This is from 2010. March 17th, 2010.
Have you ever had a personal relationship with Donald Trump?
What do you mean by personal relationships?
Have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
Have you ever had a personal relationship with Donald Trump?
Have you ever been in the presence of Donald Trump with underage females? Jeffrey Epstein asserts his Fifth Amendment.
What do you mean by personal relationships?
Have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
Have you ever had a personal relation?
Now, everyone should assert their Fifth Amendment. You shouldn't say anything. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're guilty. I would be a complete and total hypocrite if I was to get on here and to say that was proof of anything. However, it is yet another thing that we can throw on the pile of incriminating evidence and continue to stoke the flames. New images that we've never seen of Trump with Jeffrey Epstein have emerged.
You've got to be kidding me. That was President Trump's reaction and response when he spoke with CNN and was asked about these newly uncovered photos and video offering a new...
He apparently said, "You've got to be kidding me," and then hung up on them. Also, CNN called his personal cell phone. So he's just out here answering calls from CNN and then hanging up on them. You gotta love it.
You've got to be kidding me. That was President Trump's reaction and response when he spoke with CNN and was asked about these newly uncovered photos and video offering a new look at his past ties to Jeffrey Epstein. We're going to show you some of them. A photo from 1993 showing Epstein at Trump's wedding to Marla Maples. Epstein's attendance at the wedding has not been widely known until now. Another photo, this one from 1993, also shows Trump with his children next to Jeffrey Epstein at a restaurant opening. And CNN's K-File also uncovered this video showing Trump and Epstein in 1999 at a Victoria's Secret fashion show. All of these, given the dates, taken long before Jeffrey Epstein was ever accused of sexual abuse. President Trump has never been accused of any wrongdoing linked to Jeffrey Epstein. Still, he can...
Wrong! Multiple accusers have placed him on the island in Epstein's presence while trafficking was going on, and he has been sued. He has been sued twice by the same woman. Once she went in the New York district and they said it wasn't the right jurisdiction. She went to California, filed it again, eventually dropped it because they outed her. They doxed her online during the election in 2016. They doxed her, and MAGA supporters bullied her into dropping her suit. But to say that he hasn't been accused, completely false. Completely false.
Continues and is taking distract and deflect to a new level today. Today, lawmakers are going to be heading home for recess, and that is despite the last-minute push that has been coming from lawmakers on both sides of the aisle to force a release of more information regarding Jeffrey Epstein and the government's investigation. CNN's Lauren Fox is on Capitol Hill. Elena Treen is at the White House. Elena, what is the...
War Machine, there has been reporting that Bongino is unhappy. He missed out on what 2 Fridays ago? He stayed home from work with the boo-boo pouty face. Slate magazine thinks that Donald Trump has made everything worse. Donald Trump might have just made the Epstein story 100 times worse. When Donald Trump sued the Wall Street Journal last week for libel after the paper published an article about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, he was likely anticipating a rerun of his suit against CBS. Bellicose threats followed by a Trump-friendly settlement, perhaps with a side order of censorship. Why else demand $10 billion in damages, an amount roughly the GDP of Togo? But the Journal suit is potentially a different beast from the CBS suit. Not only does the president face significant barriers to any actual win on the merits of the case, at least under current law, the legal process may prove politically costly because the mechanics of ordinary civil litigation will likely imperil Trump's ability to control the narrative of the Epstein affair. To begin with, an obvious reason the suits differ is that Trump relied on different laws to bring them. CBS suit was filed under a Texas law concerning deceptive business practices. The Journal suit relies on libel. Trump claims specifically not to be the author of a letter and a lewd drawing that, according to the Journal, he put together for Epstein's 50th birthday. The truth of the matter has not yet been litigated. Despite some complaints by conservative Supreme Court justices, it remains well established that libel plaintiffs must show that a defendant acted with actual malice. Unless the Journal knew that its story was false or proceeded with reckless disregard to its falsity, it's not liable. If the Journal's reporting is accurate, for example, that would also foreclose any liability. Perhaps the president is anticipating that SCOTUS will revisit libel law and extend his extraordinary series of wins there. But even these justices may be reluctant to return to a legal regime that was notoriously used to defend Jim Crow before the landmark Sullivan case announced that actual malice rule. Southern segregationists wielded libel to shut down debate about their racist segregation. Would even the Roberts Court drive us back to those days? I don't rule anything out. As important as actual malice, but less appreciated is the fact that a libel case is an ordinary civil case. So if Trump overcomes the Journal's motion to dismiss and the paper declines to settle, he faces the discovery process, a pretrial phase in which parties get to demand evidence from each other. Of course, Trump may be banking on the Murdoch family's News Corp, the Journal's parent company, settling under pressure from its own Republican-aligned leadership and allies. I don't think so. If he called Rupert himself, then they have the big guys backing. Crucially, discovery in a libel action is bilateral. The plaintiff and defendant get to make demands for information and documents from the other side. As the nation's leading expert on libel, Robert Sack, has explained, defendants often use discovery to establish the truth of some portions of the article and thereby remove them from contention. Carefully reading the complaint, the Journal's lawyer must already realize that this provides an extraordinary range of inquiry. Obviously, many of the factual questions at issue in the libel suit concern the letter from Trump to Epstein, purportedly sent for the latter's 50th birthday. The Journal can seek information related to Trump's authorship of the note, including a deposition in which the president may be required to testify under oath. And it can seek any and all documentary information about Trump's relationship with Epstein around that time, again, under threat of penalty. Trump's complaint, however, opens the gate for discovery even wider. It calls unsubstantiated and false the assertion that the president has been a friend or pal or family of Epstein. In effect, the complaint here invites the Journal's lawyer to use interrogatories and depositions to plumb the entire relationship between the two men. Indeed, it positively drives those attorneys, simply as a matter of zealous advocacy, to assume a robust and admissible record of the entire arc of the Trump-Epstein relationship. Consider the risks to Trump at this point. Other presidents have been, shall we say, less than judicious with the truth while speaking under oath in civil depositions and civil depositions. And I assume he's getting ready to bring up Clinton. Things didn't turn out well, although impeachment seems unlikely in this case. A well-publicized instance of perjury by the president can hardly be seen as a political winner, at least in relation to Epstein. Nor can Trump use his office as a shield or a stick, at least under present law. The Supreme Court has previously rejected efforts to protect the president from civil suits based on private conduct, even while the president is in office. In that case, a suit filed by Paula Jones against Bill Clinton The majority warned that it might be appropriate to delay litigation to avoid burdening the defendant, the incumbent president. But here, where the president has initiated the suit while in office with the apparent intent of vigorously prosecuting it, he can hardly be heard to complain and seek delay. More huge Epstein news out today. The transcripts that were requested by the Department of Justice last week that Trump asked for have been denied by the judge.
We also have some breaking news that we want to get to as well as it pertains to Jeffrey Epstein. I want to go ahead and continue to let you know that this report just now coming out that a judge has since denied the Justice Department's request to release the Epstein transcript. This came all from a judge in Florida. So do want to put up this tweet that we have from some of our partners there at Reuters saying, Justin, the U.S. judge rejects that bid to unseal the Epstein jury transcripts. This all came from a Florida probe. And so it's been something that we've been following very closely here on Live Now from Fox. But that judge did decide to rule today to not release the late financier and sex offender Jeffrey Epstein files. This is the first ruling in a series of attempts by President Trump's administration to release much more information about the case. So this initial request did stem from federal investigations.
Do we know who the judge is?
Epstein back in 2005 and 2007, according to those court documents. So what we also know here, the Justice Department has pending requests to unseal transcripts in Manhattan federal court related to the later indictment that was brought against Epstein and his former associate, Ghislaine Maxwell. So we've been following this very closely here on Live Now from Fox. We've been getting some of those updates as they've been coming into our newsroom, but ultimately the U.S. District Judge found that the Justice Department's request in Florida did not fall into any of the exceptions to the rules requiring grand jury material be kept secret. So if anything else comes out of this, we will certainly bring it to you here on Live Now from Fox. But of course, we have been following this very closely.
Judge Robin L. Rosenberg
and many others as this has been going on as it relates to.
So transcripts not getting released, but we could have deposition from Maxwell. August 11th, I think, is the date that they were floating around. This was James Comer yesterday. He's the head of the Oversight Committee.
Come to the bottom step. Thank you.
Bottom step.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, so how quickly do you plan to issue the subpoena for Maxwell?
The subpoena should be issued in the next day or two. I'll be here on Thursday because we have Ron Klain coming in. And the process that will play out is...
You got issued today.
We'll have to contact her attorneys because obviously she's represented by counsel. She's in prison now doing an appeal process to her guilty ruling. So, there'll have to be a negotiation take place. Is she requiring any type of terms or anything like that to talk to us? If not, then we can roll in there and do the deposition fairly quickly. I'll have to go to that prison to do the deposition. We've done that before. We've gone into prisons and done transcribed interviews and depositions. So that's where this will take place. And hopefully it'll be sooner rather than later. With the Department of Justice having an investigation ongoing and, what was announced today, I don't know how that complicates things, but we're my committee for the past 10 days has been adamant about talking to Maxwell. I relayed that to the leadership staff and said that, if there's going to be a vote on the floor, I think the majority of my committee will vote with Ro Khanna because Ro Khanna's on the Oversight Committee. So, I think leadership knew that this was probably going to happen. I don't mind because, it's something that my committee wants to do. When we talk regularly, what do you want to look into? Who do you want to talk to? This has always been at the top of the list for the House Oversight Committee. So, we knew going into this subcommittee hearing that Mr. Burchett and there were others on the committee, Mr. Brandon Gill and others wanted to do this. So Burchett made the motion and we approved it and had our subcommittee hearing.
So this will be in prison. So obviously it sounds like it can't be a public.
I don't know how else you could. We tried to get Jason Galanis to come in for a testimony when we had Tony Bobulinski in there. It's very difficult.
Tony Bobulinski
to get to come here. So, and that would probably take a lot longer. And I think most people have a sense of urgency here. So, I would assume we will end up going to that prison to do the deposition.
And you would release the transcript afterwards?
Oh yeah. Well, the Democrats will be there too. So,
Yeah.
but I want to release the transcript because when Jamie Raskin was on the Oversight Committee, he wasn't always truthful with you. So I like to have the transcript and a video too.
Will you give her immunity to testify?
I don't think that we can do that since she's in federal. I don't think we can do that. The immunity thing, a lot of people don't understand. We can grant immunity if the Democrats, we have to have a 2/3 vote in the House, in the Oversight Committee to grant immunity. So Democrats would have to vote with Republicans. But I'll be honest, I don't think there are many Republicans that want to give immunity to someone that may have been sex trafficking children. So the immunity thing, I would assume, will be off the table for the Oversight Committee because I would be surprised if the Republicans voted for that. Democrats might, but I don't think Republicans.
Oh, no. The thing I think is going to happen is a Republican is going to pardon her after she comes out and says that he wasn't in the Epstein files.
Investigation when you depose Maxwell, or is this going to be a full-blown investigation?
It could be. I mean, she's said publicly she wants to talk to Congress. We would be the logical committee for her to talk to.
But I'm saying you can do a full-blown investigation.
I don't know. I don't know. We'll see what she has to say, and we'll go from there. President Trump said he's going to release, what they have. Pam Bondi said they're going to release what they have. So we just have to see what's out there. All I know is what we see on TV, and she said publicly she wants to talk to Congress. I think you all know there's overwhelming support for Congress to talk to her. So that first step was taken today. We'll just have to see how it plays out.
As someone who has advocated for transparency, do you support releasing whatever the Justice Department has, the Epstein files?
Of course, yes, absolutely.
Do you think that the White House has been collaborative on this?
I think that they said they're going to release everything, and I think they will.
But so far, what they've done, is that sufficient? So far as what the Justice Department's done, is that sufficient in your eyes?
Well, I think Congress wants them to release what they have. There's no question. That's no secret. You all have been reporting that. The overwhelming majority of Republicans in Congress want to see the administration release the Epstein files. That's what we hear back home from our constituents, and I think that message has been relayed. There may be reasons because of protecting, people in further investigations. I understand why it would be
protecting people.
The message has been sent and received that Congress expects the federal government to release everything within reason with respect to the Epstein.
Will you vote for the Massey resolution?
With respect to the Epstein.
Will you vote for the Massey resolution? Will you go for the Massey?
Well, if it comes to the floor, but I feel like we're doing what the president by September will surely have turned over everything. So, if things haven't been turned over by then, I think the Massey resolution will pass on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully, we're going to be gone for a few weeks. Hopefully, by the time we come back, everybody will know.
You're going for like a 7-week vacation. Fucking assholes. They're like, see you in September.
Let's look at them and see. To you, though? Yeah, I think if we talk to Maxwell, if she wants to tell us who all was going to Epstein Island, I think that would be interesting, and you can go from there. We don't know all the facts, but everything that we know from what we've seen in the media reports it's really bad. So I don't think she should be granted a pardon or immunity or anything like that. If she wants to talk to members of Congress, then we'll give her that opportunity.
The Justice Department also said that they were going to interview Ms. Maxwell. What do you make of that move?
Interview who?
Ms. Maxwell.
Well, when we decided to do this, we weren't aware they were going to do that. But, I think that's fine if they interview her. I just hope they release the transcript.
Mr. Crump, on a separate matter, you played a big role in getting RFK.
So they are going to interview her, apparently. The DOJ planning to meet with Ghislaine Maxwell.
Intends to interview Jeffrey Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, who's currently serving a 20-year prison sentence in Florida for sex trafficking.
Willie froze.
Todd Blanche announced
Willie pulled
Maxwell
a Kennedy,
saying, quote, if she has information about anyone who has committed crimes against victims, the FBI and DOJ will hear what she has to say. Maxwell's attorney confirmed discussions with the government are underway, adding, quote, Ghislaine will always testify truthfully. President Trump was asked about the outreach to Maxwell at the White House yesterday.
Do you support the Justice Department seeking a new interview with Ghislaine Maxwell? Would you urge the Attorney General to seek?
I don't know anything about it. They're going to what? Meet her?
They're going to, your Deputy Attorney General is reached out to.
Deputy Attorney General, who was also Trump's personal attorney. Seems really fishy. No corruption here, though.
Yeah, I don't know about it, but I think it's something that sounds appropriate to do, yeah.
Do you have any concern that your Deputy Attorney General, as your former attorney, would be conducting the interview, given...
No, I have no concern. He's a very talented person. He's very smart. I didn't know that they were going to do it. I don't really follow that too much. It's sort of a witch hunt, just a continuation of the witch hunt.
But there it is. Let's bring in MSNBC legal correspondent, former litigator, Lisa Rubin. Lisa, good morning. What would you expect the Deputy Attorney General to be asking Ghislaine Maxwell at that federal prison in Florida?
First of all, the existence of a meeting between the Deputy Attorney General and any person who's incarcerated is remarkable. Yeah. And so when Todd Blanche wrote in his ex-post yesterday, no administration has ever done this, as if it were a good thing. I just want to take a step back and recognize why it's so atypical that a political appointee would go to see a convicted felon. It's because Ghislaine Maxwell was prosecuted some time ago. She had an opportunity to testify in her own defense at her criminal trial. She didn't take it. But presumably the conversation between Todd Blanche and Ghislaine Maxwell is going to be, what didn't you say that you're willing to say now in exchange for some form of leniency? And the reason I think that there's a deal to be had is where Ghislaine Maxwell is in her criminal conviction journey, so to speak. Her conviction has been upheld by the Second Circuit, that's the Federal Court of Appeals, last November. She is in the middle of briefing a petition to the Supreme Court to review her conviction. And the sole question for review by the Supreme Court, if Ghislaine Maxwell gets her way, is, am I entitled to the rights and privileges that Jeffrey Epstein negotiated when he negotiated that sweetheart deal with Trump's first labor secretary,
of course not,
Alex Acosta? If so, I should have never been prosecuted by the Southern District of New York. But of course, getting the Supreme Court to review that conviction is an uphill battle to begin with, and then winning is also an uphill battle. So Ghislaine Maxwell very much wants to get out of prison. She has contended that she was wrongfully prosecuted and convicted. She may be willing to say certain...
But when she says that she was wrongfully prosecuted, it's not that she wasn't out here raping kids. It was that Jeffrey Epstein signed this sweetheart agreement with the dude that Trump appointed to his cabinet, another of the many, many, many things that I can point to that prove that Trump is a pedophile. Epstein had a deal with Alex Acosta not to be prosecuted any further for the matter, and Maxwell says that applies to her. I call complete bullshit.
Things or tell certain truths in order for some leniency from this administration.
And Lisa, that's what I wanted to zero in on, because Maxwell herself has said she has nothing new to say. Ahead in court papers ahead of her trial last time, she said everything is old, it's out there, witnesses aren't reliable. So she has already said that she doesn't have any new information to provide. DOJ has also accused her of lying repeatedly to prosecutors, so therefore she's not exactly a trustworthy individual here. And to your last point, there were howls among some in the legal community saying this is ripe for corruption here, that Maxwell, they fear, could say something that would be pleasing to Donald Trump to verify his version of events in order to get perhaps even a pardon.
Well, people are looking for names. Let's talk about what the MAGA sphere wants here. They believe that there was a sex trafficking ring that not only gratified Jeffrey Epstein, but also
Donald Trump and probably Bill Clinton.
Many other individuals. If you look at the publicly...
I don't think there's near the amount of evidence that Clinton was out here raping kids, but I wouldn't put it past him. And if he was guilty, fucking log him up.
available records from the cases, Jonathan, you can see some of those names flatly in the public domain. I won't repeat them here. They're ripe for the taking. But presumably one of the things they want Ghislaine Maxwell to
Bill
do
Gates.
is elaborate on that. Who else participated in the sex trafficking ring for which she and Jeffrey Epstein were prosecuted? I will tell you, one of the most prominent victims' lawyers, a man by the name of Brad Edwards, who represented
Steven Tyler flew on the plane.
200 victims.
And I totally believe Steven Tyler out here raping kids. He was a pedophile in his younger day.
Epstein was both the pimp and the John. If you are looking for evidence of a widespread sex trafficking ring through which Jeffrey Epstein was paid so that other people could have access to young women, that's by and large not what you're going to find. At the margins, were there a handful of people who also participated in sex acts with the people that Jeffrey Epstein lured to his orbit? Yes. But is there some
The thing with Bill is, I think all of his relationships were consensual. Monica was consensual. Paula Jones was consensual. And her dude found out and she lied. We know that for a fact now, that she just lied and said that he raped her. Juanita Broderick is the only one that says that she was raped by Clinton. And I don't believe her. Like, she is batshit crazy. I don't want to not believe somebody. I can believe that he got handsy with her. But, like, it doesn't seem to be his MO for it not to be consensual. Now, where we get into the issue is, did Bill think it was consensual, this 17-year-old, 16-year-old that might have been doing massages for Epstein and partook upon that? Absolutely. Sleazy motherfucker. And lock him up for it.
Widespread pedophilic ring here? No. And that's from the perspective of somebody who has seen multiple deposition transcripts, who sat in on the depositions of Jeffrey Epstein multiple times, who sat in on depositions of Ghislaine Maxwell in civil cases that had to do with defamation, right? Nobody believes that there is more out there except for the MAGA sphere that this DOJ is somehow trying to appease. And as you said, that is ripe for corruption from the same administration who brought us the smells like corruption Eric Adams deal.
So pulling on that thread a bit more, how unusual is it, Lisa, for the Deputy Attorney General of the United States of America to be taking a trip to a prison in Florida to talk to a witness of a crime alleged to have committed several years in the past?
It's beyond unusual. Todd Blanche will tell you as much. He said no administration has ever done anything like this, and he's choosing his words carefully, Mike. He's not saying no career prosecutor has ever talked to somebody who's already incarcerated. No career prosecutor has ever offered to talk with somebody who's under investigation or prosecution. He's saying no administration has ever done this. What he's referring to there is the political leadership of the Department of Justice. The idea that the Deputy Attorney General is going to walk into Federal Correctional Institution, Tallahassee, where Ghislaine Maxwell is now serving her sentence, and take a private meeting with her, that takes my breath away in terms of its impropriety and susceptibility to corruption.
Why? Why does it take your breath away?
Yes.
Because first of all, the career prosecutors at the Department of Justice are the ones who dealt with this case. More importantly, it takes my breath away because on July 14th, John Sauer, another former personal criminal defense attorney of Donald Trump, submitted a brief to the Supreme Court in which they said this conviction should stand. And yet now, less than 2 weeks later, Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General, wants to talk to Ghislaine Maxwell about what more information she can provide. Wouldn't the time have been much sooner to have done this? This is an administration that itself began the investigation and prosecution of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And yet, now, 6 years later, they want to talk to Ghislaine Maxwell about what additional information she could provide. This just reeks of something untoward, particularly given that Ghislaine Maxwell will perhaps do anything, say anything to reduce her prison sentence or to get a pardon or a commutation.
Or exonerate someone powerful who might be implicated in all.
Yep.
Someone in the White House.
Yep. That's exactly what's getting ready to happen. And who's going to fall for it? Oh, MAGA world for sure. Earlier today, the House Subcommittee, Oversight Subcommittee.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I move to amend Ms. Lee's motion to include the release of all communications between President Joe Biden and or the Biden administration officials and the Department of Justice related to Jeffrey Epstein.
Motion is offered. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed?
Just the Biden administration?
Prior to vote?
Yep. Thank you, sir.
You have an amendment to the amendment?
I do, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Garcia is recognized with an amendment to the amendment that Mr. Biggs has offered.
Thank you.
To Ms. Lee's motion.
I move to add a second amendment to the amendment to Mr. Biggs to strike President Joe Biden and or Biden administration officials and replace with, quote, any president or executive branch official, end quote.
We will dispense with Mr. Garcia's motion to amend the amendment of Mr. Biggs before we vote by voice on Mr. Biggs' amendment to Ms. Lee's motion. All those in favor of Mr. Garcia's motion to amend Mr. Biggs' motion, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, the noes have it, and the motion is not agreed to.
Recorded vote, please, Mr. Chair.
Record
that vote.
Requested, the clerk will call the roll.
Come on, they can't get one Republican to sign off on that? Come the fuck on.
Come on, man.
They just want any documents from the Biden administration. Remember, it was the Trump administration that oversaw his prosecution the first time. It was during the Trump administration that he committed suicide.
Mr. Biggs. Mr. Biggs votes no. Ms. Mace. Ms. Mace votes no.
Maxwell prosecuted during the Trump administration.
Perry votes no. Ms. Boebert. Mr. Jack.
No.
Mr. Jack votes no. Ms. Lee. Ms. Lee votes yes. Mr. Bell. Mr. Bell votes yes. Ms. Simon. Yes. Ms. Simon votes yes. Ms. Presley. Yes. Ms. Presley votes yes. Mr. Garcia.
Yes.
Mr. Garcia votes yes. Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman votes no. Mr. Chairman, on this vote, the ayes are 5, the nays are 5.
So we have a tie.
We have a tie. The motion fails.
The vote is a tie. The motion fails. We now will dispense with Mr. Biggs' motion to amend the motion of Ms. Lee. All those in favor of Mr. Biggs' amendment, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the motion is agreed to. We will now call up Ms. Lee's.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes?
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
Right here. I move to amend Ms. Lee's motion to include the redacting of names of victims and any personally identifying information of said victims and any possible child sexual abuse material or
listen here, Ms. Mace.
That we protect any.
You can be my GOP mommy.
Potential victims.
That's an amendment to Ms. Lee's motion. All those in favor of Ms. Mace's amendment to Ms. Lee's motion, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the motion is agreed to.
Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Mace?
I move to amend Ms. Lee's motion to add the word credible before the word complete.
Ms. Mace has further amendment to Ms. Lee's motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
We'd like that. We just want that in writing. We just want to make sure we have the exact change to the motion, please.
I believe she said she's added one word. Can we dispense?
Credible, the word credible after the word complete. Sorry.
We respect the gentleman's query. I'm asking to move forward.
We want that in writing.
Well, they respect that the gentleman is query.
Okay. A writ has been requested.
That's at least something from Republicans.
Ms. Mace's one-word amendment to Ms. Lee's motion. we'll stand by to move forward with the vote while
It was
the
a dumb joke.
clerk prepares
I apologize.
the writ.
I should see myself out for that one.
Question to Ms.
Order.
Thank you. I think adding the word credible, who makes the decision on what is credible?
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, Ms. Mace, does the DOJ get an opportunity to make that decision?
I
And so
believe in
think-
the bipartisan bill by Representatives Massey and Khanna. They use language credible. Also, I think it's important that this doesn't need to be a witch hunt. We all want transparency on this committee, and you're seeing that process in play in real time right now. And I think it's really important that this is.
We all want transparency, as they just voted to not subpoena the documents during the Trump administration when all the shit happened, just during the Biden administration.
Witch hunt, that we're talking about credible information, credible files, et cetera. And I believe it models the language that's in the Massey-Khanna bill or discharge petition.
Well,
once it is.
I mean, we'll definitely take a look at that. I think that obviously we want to make sure, I think like all of you, that we have a full release of the Epstein files and that all pertinent information is released. I don't doubt that all of you also want that same thing. I just think it's important that the word credible, I think, adds a concern that who's making the decision of what is actually credible within the actual file.
May I?
Please.
I think it's important that we ensure that we're not releasing unverified documents, that the documents that we are subpoenaing to have released are actually verified. So I've worked on many issues with women and children. I happen to be a victim of a similar thing that I uncovered about 1 year, 9 months.
Yeah, we know. You
child sexual abuse
never shut the fuck up about it.
From someone in my district. And I reported it to the feds. I reported it to
your ex-fiance, who seemed to be a sleazebag.
Based on that information. And I understand when we are doing an investigation, because of the experience that I've just been through the last 1 year, 9 months, one, protecting victims, which we just did in my previous motion. But now I want to make sure that the information that we do release is verified and is credible. And I think that's fair. And you're watching us. This is democracy in motion. This is a Republican motion. You're seeing us work together to make sure that we're putting verified information, verified documents forward. That is, in my estimation, the best path forward to ensure that this isn't just some political witch hunt, that we're being actually very thoughtful about it with all parties involved.
I appreciate that. And I think our concern, and certainly mine, is that, you know, if it's the White House or anyone else that's making a decision on what's actually credible or not, or the DOJ,
we as a committee are doing that.
I understand that. I just want to make sure that we receive as much information as possible, and that the decision of what is actually credible is not being made by an outside party.
Well, we are making that.
The gentleman's time for comment on
Mr.
this
Chairman,
has expired.
May I, Mr. Chairman?
I would ask that in the interest of all members,
Clay Higgins.
we're debating one word on an amendment to a motion that we have yet to vote on.
Mr. Chairman, may I have 1 minute?
I recognize Ms. Mace.
We as the Oversight Committee, we have writ authority over our subpoena, over this motion, over the subpoena. So there's no one from the White House in the room today. There's no one from the DOJ in the room. This is us operating as our own legislative vehicle, doing this independently of anybody. And I think we want to be sure that this is structured in a way that is taken seriously, is real, and that it's verified. And we as a committee have that writ authority, Mr. Chairman, as you know. Thank you, and I yield back.
The gentlelady yields. Let me say again, we're debating one word. If you oppose, I would suggest that we move forward with a vote.
But the word's kind of important.
Motion.
Mr. Chair, may I be recognized?
The good lady's recognized.
Thank you, sir. I would like to yield my time to Ranking Member Garcia.
Thank you. And I appreciate the back and forth. And I know we're gonna vote here real soon. We're scanning the resolution. We don't see right now the word credible in there. Maybe it's there. We haven't seen it yet, but it's not something that we're seeing in the Massey resolution. Okay. And so
I'm a co-sponsor. I thought that was in there. So my apologies to the committee.
And so I think your initial motion, I think, is one that we obviously supported with the redacting of those names and information. I think we can just move on from that credible word and allow the files to be released as they've intended. I think the motion as is was appropriate.
May I? So you're okay with having unverified, undocumented files released
what?
to the public? I mean,
But they're being released to the committee.
To the
They'll be
committee.
released to us.
but you want unverified, undocumented.
Yeah, let's take all the information, Ms. Nace, and then let's, at that point, this committee can make those decisions. You're going to have that information. We'll all have it. As far as what's released to the public is a separate question.
Right. I just think it's very important for this to be taken seriously, that we're using.
Are you taking it seriously, Nancy?
They are verified. I'm going to yield to Mr. Biggs, who would like to. Is that okay?
Thank you.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, it's not.
Yep.
I believe that I've yielded my time, Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Garcia, so if he wants to yield it back to me.
Yeah, what I would do is I would.
Hold on. I had recognized Ms. Mace. Did Mr. Garcia's?
Yep.
Oh,
on my time.
Simon.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm just.
There's a lot of recognition here.
Thank you, sir. Last piece. I think, look, if you want to adopt the language that's actually in the Massey resolution as it relates to the information and what information we want to get back, I think we'd be okay with that.
Well, let's do that.
Let's do that. We're happy. We're happy to do that. Okay. There's language in the Massey resolution that we'll have to write it out. So you'll need to give us some time, but we're happy to do that with our two teams.
Mr. Bell had sought recognition, I believe. We're recognized for comment, Mr. Bell.
I'm not going to withdraw the amendment.
Mr. Bell.
Pardon?
I'm not withdrawing the amendment. I want to vote on it.
I understand. On Ms. Mace's amendment to Ms. Lee's motion, Ms. Mace's amendment being adding the word credible to Ms. Lee's motion. Mr. Bell is recognized, and let us move forward, please.
Shoo this hearing.
The legalese of this.
I'm not high enough for this shit.
When you introduce a word like credible, essentially what you're saying is that someone is going to make a decision on what's credible and what's not credible. And when we're talking about due process, and I don't care whose name is in this report, Democrat, Republican, or whomever, the public has a right, folks have a right to know, particularly when we're dealing with folks who have been preying on children. And it's disappointing to me that people on this committee do not want to see all of the information regarding potential.
Byronic, pick what we're going to watch after the stream. We've still got like an hour of news to go, but Byronic gets to pick. Do you want music and police chase? You want a TV show? Do you want Penn and Teller? Do you want Whose Line Is It Anyway? I put her on the spot.
Child preying on children. We saw a amendment that limited to President Biden and his communications, but yet members on this community.
Whose line it is?
This is not. They don't want a political witch hunt. We just made it a political witch hunt, and what we're saying is, let's just release the files. Let's find out what's in there. Whoever is in there, they should. Let's find out what's in there. Let's get to the bottom of it. That's what justice is about. And so, it disappoints me, and I'm glad that we're not doing this vote in the middle of the night as some of these other controversial votes.
Is it still easy if I throw out Kids in the Hall, Whitest Kids You Know, Trailer Park Boys?
Right here, and
are you still sticking with Whose Line?
To see. And so if you want to add language that could potentially protect predators, just know you're going to be held accountable for that, and we're not going to forget about it, because I don't care if my mother's name was in there. I'm sorry, Mom, for throwing you in there. We need to find out what the information.
I would hope your mother isn't in the Epstein files.
Because keep in mind, there might be other victims. There might be other victims out there who may not feel empowered to stand up because they don't feel that we're supporting them. And so,
Mr. Chairman.
All right.
Demon, welcome in.
I yield my time back to
I mean, I'd hope his mom's not in the Epstein files, but you never know.
Mr. Chairman. No, the importance of the word.
Mr. Biggs is recognized, yields time to Ms. Mace.
It's important that I am currently now, I have actively reported child sexual abuse material that I uncovered 1 year, 9 months ago, November 5th.
Oh my God, Nancy.
I'm working with victims. And so to sit here and say that members of this committee, like myself, don't want information out about possible crimes against children, we're literally...
She's got to make everything about herself.
It's going to be a bipartisan vote. So I take issue with that. But also, we're in an environment, a political environment where...
I need you to think about me and my feelings, Nancy. I need you to be my GOP mommy.
The Steele dossier was touted out there as...
Oh my God, the Steele dossier!
We were told that the Hunter Biden laptop wasn't credible. When it ended up, it was credible. And so, you know...
No, it wasn't.
Environment, I want to be as transparent as possible. You're going to see me vote for this and the other Republicans on this subcommittee. But it's important that we treat this with the dignity, the respect, the transparency, and that we're not going down the conspiracy rabbit hole that our country has been through for the last 4 years. Like, we're trying to instill trust in an institution. And regardless of what's in the files, who's in the files, all of that, we want to, I think, as a body,
all the conspiracy theories they've been pushing for the last 4 years,
show that we can be trusted and that we're not going to play these games. And I think it's just really important that we're talking about verified documents. That's why I want the word credible in there. I am living this nightmare in real time with some of my constituents because of evidence that I personally uncovered. And I'm fighting like hell, tooth and nail, for those victims. And I can't tell you, when you see possible child sexual abuse material, what it does to your soul and how awful. And you're right there with me, shaking your head.
Yes, tell us about it, Nancy.
I can't tell you how devastating it is, how devastating it's been to me, the trauma that I've endured, the trauma, vicarious trauma that I've endured.
The trauma that Nancy endured.
I take this issue very seriously, and I want to see us do this work, but do it in a way that's not going to be tainted. I'm sick of the political games. I'm sick of it.
Oh my God.
Let's do something that's right. Let's do something that's verified so that
that's like fucking Steph Curry saying he's sick of basketball. You're sick of political games, Nancy? Stop fucking playing them.
We can be trusted.
You're literally voting on an amendment that names Joe Biden and not the president where all this shit happened under.
It the right way. Not the political way, not the easy way, not the way that we're going to go, that some people in this committee might go fundraise on this afterwards, how everyone's eager to take this vote to go make money for their campaigns next year or use it as a wedge in a political campaign in the midterms next year. Let's do it real. Let's do it real. Let's do it right.
She has fundraised off her own bullshit.
With verified information and documents, and do it the right way for the American people. Mr. Chairman, and I yield back.
The gentlelady yields. Mr. Biggs yields back his time. We call up Ms. Mace's amendment number 2 for vote. All those in favor say aye.
I mean, I just don't know what she means by verified documents. The documents we are discussing are verified. They're part of the Epstein file. The committee wants to see all of them without them going through some sort of different committee that would label whatever as credible.
Aye. All those opposed say no. No. In the opinion of chairs, the ayes have it.
Recorded vote, please.
Recorded vote is called for. The clerk will call the roll.
The ayes have it.
Mr. Gosar.
So they did pass the amendment to subpoena the DOJ for the Epstein files, but as you heard, political, playing politics with it while she opines about not wanting to play politics. Gag me. Let's go to the UN. The World Court. The World Court ruled today on climate change.
The court notes that the consequences of climate change are severe and far-reaching. They affect both natural ecosystems and human populations. These consequences underscore the urgent and existential threat posed by climate change. The court considers that the material scope of its inquiry encompasses the full range of human activities that contribute to climate change as a result of the emission of GHGs, including both consumption and production activities. GHG emissions are unequivocally caused by human activities which are not territorially limited. The Court notes that the consequences of climate change are severe and far-reaching. They affect both natural ecosystems and human populations. These consequences underscore the urgent and existential threat posed by climate change. The Court considers that the material scope of its inquiry encompasses the full range of human activities that contribute to climate change as a result of the emission of GHGs, including both consumption and production activities. GHG emissions are unequivocally caused by human activities which are not territorially limited. The Court notes that the consequences of climate change are severe and far-reaching. They affect both natural ecosystems and human populations. These consequences underscore the urgent and existential threat posed by climate change. The Court considers that the material scope of its inquiry encompasses the full range of human activities that contribute to climate change as a result of the emission of GHGs, including both consumption and production activities. GHG emissions are unequivocally caused by human activities which are not territorially limited. The Court notes that the consequences of...
I've let him play a couple different times, haven't I? I just know. World Court calls climate change an urgent and existential threat. What are we doing here in the U.S.? Trump EPA will propose repealing the finding that climate change endangers public health. I ain't high enough for this shit. The Trump administration will propose the repeal of a landmark 2009 determination that climate change poses a danger to the public. This is according to Lee Zeldin, the EPA administrator. The EPA has sent to the Office of Management and Budget a proposal. God damn it. The EPA has sent to the Office of Management and Budget a proposed rule to repeal the 2009 endangerment finding from the Obama EPA. I was going to try to get off here by 10 and watch South Park live, but that ain't going to happen. Now I'm going to have to stay on here for a couple hours, kill time until I can download it. Through the endangerment finding, there has been into the trillions worth of regulations, including tailpipe emissions and including electric vehicle mandates. In 2009, then President Obama's administration made a formal determination that greenhouse gases, including carbon dioxide and methane, posed a threat to public health. It found emissions from vehicles contributed to the problem. The finding provided a legal basis for EPA regulations on these planet-heating gases, including for its rules requiring automakers to cut emissions from their vehicle fleet. If you are, I'm going to have to pack another one. Well, let me see if I got anything left in my bong. No, I cashed it out. I'm getting down low. I probably got to make it until Friday, which isn't long. I save back like 2 buds for tomorrow, but my stoner ass. Totally had a bong last night when I was playing video games, though. Oh, well, I appreciate it, man. Good to see you, my friend. Now, completely unrelated to the World Court declaring that climate change is an existential threat, completely unrelated to Trump's EPA moves. You guys enjoying the heat out there?
Story of the day, talking about all of the heat. They're being fueled, just extremely high temperatures, a lot of moisture there. Missouri, Tennessee, you guys have...
All three of them are right here.
At this point, some of your larger metros are under excessive heat warnings. For St. Louis this morning, temperatures are already into the upper 70s, and the winds coming out of the south. That's going to be the big kicker there. As
springboard.
Yes, and that's why we have so much more of that humidity that's going to get pulled up. So it's that big dome of high pressure. We'll be talking about it all week, probably going into next week. It's going to slide a little.
He's the most camera shy, but he's my cuddle bug.
Bit further off towards the east over the next couple of days, but for now, just baking the central U.S.
And when you think about an extreme heat warning, which is the highest level, saying, boy,
seriously, the sweetest dude.
This is new wording. The old wording was excessive. Now it goes extreme. But this goes all the way down to the Gulf Coast, especially right along the Mississippi for areas that are used to heat and humidity. But when you take it to the highest level for this part of the country, that's a concern, especially for the amount of days that we're going through. Day 2, day 3, you feel the effects. The power grids, you're like...
Feeling like 100 to 110 degrees.
Running the big appliances during the middle part of the day so everybody can get their energy going. But the heat advisories go way up.
And I feel like we're not even done with this, are we? Like, the last few years, the real heat waves have always come in August and September, haven't they?
To the U.S.-Canada border.
Yeah, and that's one thing. When we started doing Fox for the First together on Monday, Chicago was under a watch.
Right.
They weren't quite under that warning, and so now that has been elevated because it's right around the corner. The heat is here today. Already temperatures in this morning are into the mid to upper 70s. Wichita Falls already hitting 80. Wow. Same with Texarkana. So it's and that
because usually this would be the
already approaching 90.
This would be the hottest time of year, maybe into the first week of August.
That comes out.
Exactly.
Does the number on those.
No, I feel like there's been
well, when you talk
insane heat waves the last few years.
Friday, so today,
August and
Friday,
September.
look at Dallas, close to 100 today, above that Thursday and Friday, and of course these are just the temperatures. You factor in the
fires are raging in California right
all the way
now.
to Chicago. Are you kidding me? 103 is what it's going to feel like today with the heat index values. Omaha 101. That's a huge chunk of real estate from the Gulf all the way to the U.S.-Canada border. Look at Detroit. Wow.
Yeah, it's downright brutal. Tomorrow you can see that subtle shift a little bit further off towards the I-95.
Apparently there's some kind of corn sweat in the Midwest.
I mean, notice on Friday.
Makes it hotter. Like the corn in the Midwest puts off like a humidity into the air.
You're at 105, New Orleans 96, and so it's just going to be miserable as we head into the weekend.
I had never heard about corn sweat making it fucking hotter. Utah Senator Mike Lee, who goes by Based Mike Lee on Twitter, thinks he's awesome. Fell for a fake letter that appears to be generated by AI. Why are President Trump supporters so easy to fool on social media? Senator Mike Lee, a Republican from Utah, posted an extremely excited tweet on Tuesday about Fed Chairman Jerome Powell and a letter announcing his resignation. The only problem? The letter was fake. Something that's previously been a big problem for Lee. Powell's out, Lee declared in a since-deleted tweet. Captured by screenshot. The letter shared by Lee says that new leadership was needed to carry on the important work of the Fed, so Powell will be stepping down. After much reflection, I've decided to resign from my position as chair of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve. The letter contains typos and formatting errors. Jesus. Including a random comma followed by a capitalized letter as though the idea was to start a new sentence. President Donald Trump will often capitalize random words for no reason, but that's not typical of educated people like Jerome Powell. The word institutions is also split onto two lines in a way that no normal word processor would attempt. On top of everything, the letter includes a large watermark that features garbled text, likely sign that it was generated by AI. I'm not really seeing the watermark. Oh, Benny Johnson fell for it as well. God, they're stupid. I don't feel like I say it enough because it's not even like powerful enough anymore. Right-wingers are morons. Like, that just seems quaint to say in 2025. It is like my catchphrase in 2020. I'm going to make t-shirts. Right-wingers are morons. Checking in with our buddy Garcia Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Judges ruled that he needs to stay in jail, which I think is what we wanted at this point in time. We want him to stay in jail to keep him from being deported. His lawyers asked that he remain in custody.
Today, attorneys for Kilmar Abrego Garcia asked a federal judge to further delay his release from jail. And they say it's because of contradictory statements by President Trump's administration over whether or not he'll be deported upon release. The judge had been preparing to release him to await trial on human smuggling charges, but held off over concerns immigration officials would swiftly detain him and try to deport him again. Abrego Garcia was mistakenly deported to his native El Salvador in March. He was only returned to the U.S. earlier this month to face those charges.
Oh, but didn't you hear it was a vacation? Even though we totally know that they torture people at the torture prison, that was a vacation. It's a vacation for Garcia.
Sabur, I'm in awe of what he did when I was there. He was
Pete Hegseth on Fox.
More than that, he was our advisor, and he, not just for me, but for hundreds and hundreds of U.S. and NATO troops that came through where he worked. He poured himself into the mission. He was indispensable. Nothing happened without the man that you're looking at on the screen. For Americans and our mission in Afghanistan. We could not have accomplished what we did without Sabur and Habib and other men and women like that. And what we're doing right now as we close those gates is we are closing the door on their hopes and their dreams and on the belief that America would be there for them when they needed us the most.
That was Pete Hegseth. He said those things in 2021. He's now, of course, the country's defense secretary. But in that interview, he was speaking about a hero, an American hero, Afghan translator Sabur Shahzada. Hegseth was on Fox News, and he was advocating for his friends to get help for his translator and his family and to get them out of harm's way as the Taliban retook control of Afghanistan. Joining our conversation now is host of the Independent Americans podcast, founder and CEO of Independent Veterans of America, Paul Rykoff's here. Michelle's still with us. Paul, you were name-checked by the senator for your important work in advocating for these heroes, these people who helped keep men and women, Americans, alive. Your thoughts about this story that the senators helped draw attention to, and I'm sure you're working behind the scenes on.
Nicole, in my over 20 years in the veterans and national security space, I've never seen an issue that unites our community more than this one. I mean, you've got Pete Hegseth and Blumenthal agree that betraying our allies is awful. It's outrageous. It's un-American. It's bad for our national security. It's bad for our allies. But there's another really important part of this. This violates a sacred compact with our veterans.
They don't actually care.
Veterans are experiencing some deep moral trauma when they hear that the people that they promised that we would keep safe, that our government promised we would keep safe, people who died for us, people who were wounded, people who took bullets for us, are now being hung out to dry, and even worse, they're being dragged off of our streets in the way the Taliban did it in Afghanistan. I've got 2 Iraqi interpreters that live in America now, Isam and Mohammed, who are shining examples of what can happen. We got them out, and they're here, and they're thriving. Another one of my interpreters, Sid, is still in Iraq, and I don't know how he's doing. But we are betraying not just our allies in Iraq and Afghanistan, but our allies around the world. And we're in such deep conflict with our American values that I hope this sends a shock across all parties and all Americans to understand that this is not what we do in America. And it's got veterans outraged, it's got our allies hanging out to dry, and it's got our enemies celebrating. If this is what you do to your allies, Putin, the North Koreans, everyone else are celebrating this moment in American history.
Well, Paul, what is the status and what is the prospect for helping and protecting these folks from the mass deportation program that Trump is implementing?
Like everything else, it's in flux, and we're now hearing about at least, I think, 2 or 3 Afghan interpreters who've been dragged off the streets by masked American agents, right? ICE agents. It's so demented because it's exactly the kind of stuff we fought in Iraq and Afghanistan. And now to see that kind of authoritarian ridiculousness happening here at home is really infuriating, but it's also unifying because veterans are now working together. Sean Van Diver, who the senator mentioned, and countless other folks across the veterans community have created kind of an underground railroad over the last 20 years for our Iraqi and Afghan allies, and they are uniting. And now American veterans are being paired with these Afghan allies to be kind of bodyguards, to be watchdogs, to say, if you're going to be in this situation, I'm going to be standing next to you. I will be your voice. So this is going to be a really important galvanizing organizing moment, not just for the veterans community, but I think for all Americans. And veterans are going to lead the way. We're going to stand with our brothers and sisters who saved our lives, even if that includes standing up to ICE agents and pushing to change policies that are hurting us all.
I mean, Michelle, it's certainly, cross-pressure isn't the right word, but it certainly pressures Donald Trump in an area where he likes to think he does a decent job. We know that's not true. He does a terrible job for the men and women of the military, for U.S. national security, and in terms of keeping the faith with our allies, but a real test as to whether or not they can walk and chew gum as well.
Shut up, Nicole. So an interpreter that we brought over here and told that we would protect detained. We spoke about Abrego Garcia and being sent to CCOT. There were some Venezuelan migrants that were sent to CCOT. They are detailing the horrors of what happened to them. Venezuela opening an investigation into Bukele for torture.
I see that he points a 12-gauge shotgun at me, a 12, and aims it at my head and fires. Well, I didn't know they were rubber bullets, you know? At first, I was stunned. Here's my mark. I've got the bruise right here. He had a ring that I took from my wife in the United States, because she and I have always had a ring. For the humiliations we went through, the way they spoke to us with obscene words, and they messed with our heads by...
Why does it sound like AI?
...that we would never get out.
A tearful reunion in Valencia. Wild Chirino breaks down as he embraces his mother and sister.
Oh, no, I don't try this. Is the Economic Times. Yeah, there's something fucky about it. This is the same family. Honestly thought they would kill us because of the things they said to us. Did they take the? Were they speaking were they speaking Spanish? and they fucking AI'd them to speak English or something. That's fucking weird, and I do not approve of that at all. Honestly, I thought they would kill us because of how they treated us, because of the things they said to us. I thought that we were going to die there. I remember they took us off the plane. And from the moment they took us off, they started. Well, went away too fast. They started beating us. At first, we thought that they would respect us because we thought that since we were people from another country, they would treat us differently, but that was not the case. They did everything they wanted to us. Some companions had their teeth broken from beatings. Another was shot above the eyebrow. Another had a hole opened right here in the groin area. Others were shot in the back and chest. Veloso was among the 252 Venezuelans detained in El Salvador and repatriated to Venezuela on Friday as part of a prisoner exchange. Since his arrival, he's been receiving medical evaluations and speaking with authorities. This one's just breaking since we've been on the stream. Appeals court finds that Trump's effort to end birthright citizenship is unconstitutional and is upholding a block on its implementation. Appeals court in San Francisco ruled Wednesday that President Donald Trump's order seeking to end birthright citizenship is unconstitutional, affirming a lower court decision that blocked its enforcement nationwide. The ruling from a 3-judge panel on the 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals comes after Trump's plan was also blocked by a federal judge in New Hampshire. It marks the first time an appeals court has weighed in and brings the issue one step closer to coming back quickly before the Supreme Court. And who knows what the Supreme Court is going to rule. Insanity. Okay, hit the content warning for this. Actually, let's start with this instead. Well, actually, let me go refill my drink. I'm gonna piss in Dan Crenshaw's eye, and I'll be back momentarily. And we'll get more high. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm JustinFREAKIN.
All we're establishing is this guy's wicked, sick aesthetic.
Not high enough for this shit.
I guess I gotta thank Matt Walsh for introducing me to JustinFREAKIN.
Hey there, y'all. We're about to get stupid, locked into what that news be doing. Fu Manchu and a slick bandana, colder than ice, smoother than Santana. Audio, video, chat and calls. Right-wing nut jobs haunt the halls. What you wanna watch? Hey, what you think? And there's only one choice. It's JustinFREAKIN.
The guy's, he's a formidable voice in the culture.
Light one up and tip one back. It's a right to be high. Let's grab a snack. It's fucking news, quit panic, attack, and play your cards right and get a titty slap. Jump in discords, have some fun. The man will talk to everyone. Get high and try to debate. When shit pops off, chat thinks it's great. What do you think you're doing? Join the troll patrol. Wherever discourse is brewing, he gives it that southern drawl.
So let's go ahead and bring in Justin. Hey Justin, how's it going, brother?
First of all, I want to say you're poser South. I'm in Alabama. I'm the real South.
Okay, all right. So why don't you tell us what it takes to be a man?
Well, I don't know. I'm in Alabama and I'll fuck a man in a dress. Why won't you fuck a man in a dress? Are you that insecure that you won't fuck a man in a dress?
That's fantastic. So you're okay with that, right?
Yeah. Why wouldn't I?
Good.
Right-wingers are morons.
Like one hit and tip one back. One more clip before we hit the set. Set an alert when that shit goes live. Social fucking support and hit subscribe. Light one up and take a hit. He does no harm, but it takes no shit. He's the last one standing when the ship is sinking. Let's take another rip for JustinFREAKIN.
Light one up, tip one back. I'm JustinFREAKIN. Not high enough for this shit. It's kind of weird seeing the clips where like there's Kick and YouTube comments on the screen when I was banned on Twitch. You heard the lady. Light one up, tip one back. We're into the crime section of the show tonight, and I have some wild-ass video to show you. First, we're going to go to India. It's just another day in a bunch of people storming a hospital and taking a hostage. Oh, no, they didn't take a hostage. Holy shit. Gunmen walk into an Indian hospital, executed a convict that was in the ICU. Crazy ass music by the New York Post. One of them's phone goes off. 5 armed men calmly entered the Paras hospital in Patna, Bihar. Shooting parolee Chandan Mishra dead in the ICU before walking out and escaping. All 5 of them crowded in there like that just seems like an easy way to get one of your buddies shot. Off-duty cops or something? The July 17th assassination has sparked outrage over Bihar's worsening law and order. Police suspect long-standing revenge may be the motive. Didn't look like they have any silencers or anything. Manhunt underway for the suspects. Well, who's the person that just walked out of the room casually? Was that one of the suspects? I guess so. He starts running. Oh yeah, it's still loud with a suppressor, but it's really fucking loud without one. Let's go to Florida. This is a story we covered, I don't think it was last night, a couple of nights ago. Tyler X, oh shit. Welcome in, my friend. Thank you for the raid. Welcome, Raiders. I am JustinFREAKIN. We find out what that news be doing Sunday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern. If you are not following, please go ahead, hit that follow button. Any friend of Tyler X's is a friend of mine. I would hope. Hope you had a good stream, my friend. I saw you when you went live on YouTube. I was putting my show together. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to pop on here, give my buddy a like on the YouTube. Because that YouTube algorithm is brutal. You see any of your smaller creators you like, you see them on YouTube, you fucking go like their shit. Brutal. It's brutal out here for a pimp. Always, my friend. Anytime I see one of my fellow creators' content, I try to go give a like, a share. I just don't get on social media that much. But you were going live as I was putting the show together. It's on YouTube. So light one up, tip one back for my friend Tyler X. All those likes. I'm monetized on everything. It's like giving me free money. No matter what platform you're on, you liking one of my videos, 5 more people see it. It's 5 more chances I get to try to win somebody over. All right, so content warning. This is a story we did a night or two ago. A dude was stopped for not having his lights on in Florida. It was during the day, but it was kind of overcast. May have rained. And the cops go fucking nuts. You're going to see the video, and it's very disturbing.
Thank you, Chris. And there was more local fallout tonight from that viral cell phone video of the traffic stop.
Several hours ago, protesters gathered in front of City Hall to demand justice and accountability from Sheriff Waters. News4Jax reporter Eric Avignon attended the protest, and he's joining us live from downtown with what they had to say. Eric?
Yeah, Joy, when we spoke with protesters, they said the big elephant in the room was the way Sheriff T.K. Waters responded to legitimate questions that they said they cared about during yesterday's news.
Seriously, like the way the cops responded is appalling.
Conference questions that centered around that video recorded beating of Will McNeil Jr. Just days after this video showing JSO officer Donald Bowers punching Will McNeil Jr. during a traffic stop went viral.
Indict, convict, send those brutal cops to jail. The whole damn system.
Whoa, Potato, my friend, welcome in.
Demonstrators gathered in front of City Hall to protest the officer's use of force. McNeil was pulled over for not wearing his seatbelt and not having his headlights on during inclement weather. An exchange of words led to the traffic stop turning violent.
The officer should have just told the brother, your headlights are not on, turn your headlights on.
Turn your headlights on.
Inclement weather. See you later.
Protesters say Sheriff T.K. Waters made matters worse during his Monday news conference to address the video recorded beating.
You blame that young man for not coming to you for reporting this, but you say you hold your officers to a high standard, so why didn't the officers go and self-report themselves?
Although the sheriff says he has been transparent about the video recorded beating and other instances where his officers' actions made news headlines, protesters say he is not being transparent enough when it comes to answering honest questions.
Because it's far too long now that he has been getting away with not answering questions.
How the sheriff answered one question in particular during Monday's news conference had protesters sounding off.
Was it appropriate for the officer to punch this guy in the jaw after he'd already broken the window? Was that yes or no? Was that appropriate?
It depends on the circumstances. But it's already determined it's not criminal. Now we're going to look for JSO policy violations.
What?
How about that? Is that good?
Well, if a civilian did that to another civilian, they would be in handcuffs.
No, not necessarily.
Oh, yes, they would. Oh, yes, they would. That is absolutely assault.
Depends on the circumstances, the situation.
It's disgusting what his response is. It's truly disgusting. There's no accountability for these officers.
I don't think he meaningfully answered any questions.
He seemed evasive. Very, very general answers. I'm not buying any of it.
I think his approach was, how can we deflect, how can we undermine, which I think is the last thing that we need from our law enforcement.
Now this morning, the sheriff went on NPR radio.
Not surprising at all, Will Potato.
Including questions about Monday's news conference that in itself went viral on social media. In the meantime, this issue is not going away anytime soon. Demonstrators are planning to gather in front of JSO this Saturday at 5 p.m. for yet another protest. Reporting live from downtown, Eric Avignon, Channel 4, the local station.
Eric, thanks.
We're gonna have some protesting. And DJ Dub, you mentioned it earlier, and I didn't get a chance to address it. You were talking about like these nationwide protests, these like organized liberals protests. They don't do anything. No, they don't. They really don't. But like seeing the way that people in power respond to them, I don't think they're not completely useless, but like their usefulness isn't that much. But now the way we did it in 2020, that was the Antifa-led black bloc type protest. That was effective. That makes those in power scared. You can't go and protest at a designated place in these walls that they let you protest, and then maybe the news comes by and does a 30-second piece on you. That's not effective at all. Protest is meant to make people uncomfortable. It's meant to disrupt normal life. So it has to be almost violent in order to get traction. And we may be in for a hot summer. But I've said that a couple different times. The story of the was he in the Air Force, in the Navy, and he was stationed in Florida, and he was at his apartment, and somebody called a noise complaint on him. He answered the door with his gun pointed down and got shot by a sheriff's officer. I thought that was going to incite riots, and I ain't heard shit about that anymore. What the fuck? Yeah, it's not satisfying because it didn't actually do anything. We're like, if we're gonna protest, we gotta do it right. We gotta make things uncomfortable for people. I hope this one could be a flashpoint, but as I said, there's been numerous stories over the last 5 years that hasn't got us back out in the street. Story we've been following for, 3 years now? 4 years almost? If your protest has a permit, it's just a parade. Wise words. This is a story we've been covering for, I think, about 3-4 years now. This dude, the student at the University of Idaho, murdered 3 women in their house and then another dude. I was interested because he was a criminal justice student. And he seemed to indicate that he had some kind of banger defense. Ends up cutting a plea deal. Pleads out before he ever goes to trial. He was sentenced in court today. Several pieces of emotional testimony.
Raw emotion at the sentencing of the monster Bryan Kohberger.
I will call you what you are. Sociopath, psychopath, murderer.
The grieving families of his victims finally got their chance to confront the killer in court. Stephen Gonsalves, Kaylee's father, turned the podium himself so he could speak directly to Kohberger. He scoffed at the mistakes left behind by the criminology PhD student who thought he had committed the perfect crime.
Within minutes, they had your DNA, like a calling card. You were that careless, that foolish, that stupid.
He thought he had committed the perfect crime and he was going to get away with. As I said, early indication was that, he had a banger defense. Clearly he didn't.
Master degree, you're a joke. Complete joke. The world's watching because of the kids, not because of you. Nobody cares about you.
Kaylee's sister, Olivia, demanded to know the answers to the outstanding questions about the case.
Where is the murder weapon? The clothes you wore that night? What were Kaylee's last words?
She also berated him to his face.
The truth is, you're as dumb as they come. Stupid, clumsy, slow, sloppy, weak, dirty. If you hadn't attacked them in their sleep, in the middle of the night, like a pedophile, Kaylee would have kicked your ass.
The packed courtroom broke into applause. Kaylee's mother mocked Kohberger's future life in prison.
You are officially the property of the state of Idaho, where your fellow inmates are anxiously awaiting your arrival.
The atmosphere inside the courtroom was electric, and the emotions.
That like a pedo was kind of weird.
Overwhelming even the judge and the prosecutor, who both wiped away tears. Kim Mogan, the grandmother of victim Maddie Mogan, spoke about the pain all the families are enduring.
When the 4 kids were murdered, the foundation fell out of our world. I ache for the loss of the dreams that she and her true love, Jake, held.
Xander Kernodle's stepdad didn't hold back.
You're evil. There's no place for you in heaven. You took our children. You are gonna suffer, man. I'm shaking because I want to reach out to you, but I hope you feel my energy, okay? Go to hell.
Xana's aunt, who says she's turned to God in her grief, stunned the court by forgiving him.
Brian, I'm here today to tell you I have forgiven you.
Kohberger wore an orange prison uniform and shackles, in contrast with his preppy look when he last appeared in court. But he showed no flicker of emotion, and his face
sure didn't.
holding that same chilling deadpan effect. When the judge gave him a chance to speak, Kohberger had this to say.
I respectfully decline.
The White House press secretary spoke out about his silence.
If it were up to the president, he would have forced this monster to publicly explain why he chose to steal these innocent souls.
And then he heard his fate.
Life imprisonment without the possibility of parole.
I feel like a connection to this one, I guess, because like I've been there from the beginning all the way through the end. We didn't get a trial on this one. I guess that's several cases. Let's go to California, where we got some jewelry store robbers. I always love these. These stories are amazing. The jewelry store robbers did not expect to be met with someone who could fight back.
A shocking robbery attempt in Anaheim caught on camera. At least 20 people in broad daylight trying to bust into a jewelry store. But this time, the owner stopped the heist in just seconds. Good evening to you. I'm Susan Hirasuna. Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf is live in Anaheim with the dramatic video and tonight's top story. Matthew.
This happened like a week ago. I had to keep taking it off the list. I wanted to show this happened like a week ago, but I wanted to show it because it's so fucking wild.
Very intense. In that surveillance video, you can see at least 20 people trying to bust through this door right here, many with sledgehammers, until someone inside fired back. A violent would-be smash-and-grab robbery stopped in seconds.
Every single one of them is covered in blood from head to toe.
Watch again as at least 20 people wearing hoodies Thursday evening in Anaheim.
This one neat trick.
Get out of 5 cars and swarm like hungry bees outside Elmira Jewelry.
When I watch the window, I see many people. I can't count it.
Inside, store employees run for cover, while outside, thieves with sledgehammers and bags try busting in until this moment. One gunshot and everyone scrambles.
I take my gun, I shoot one bullet, I scare him, he moves it, and the problem is done.
Yeah.
Owner doesn't want to show his face on camera for safety reasons, but he and his attorney called the shot self-defense.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's his business at all costs.
About a month ago, another robbery right across Brookhurst.
Now, if you are a worker at a store, don't ever give a shit. Don't ever put your life on the line for any kind of property. This dude's the owner. That's his store. He's a legal gun owner, I would assume. One shot, 100% self-defense, 100% badass.
Thieves driving vehicle right through Basan Jewelry, stealing millions. 2 people arrested nearby, but the other getaway cars still missing. The owner adding new security measures, telling us off camera the crooks stole more than $3 million worth of jewelry.
Everybody be vigilant and careful. If they notice anything suspicious, they should speak, they should report so that, everybody's safe.
So sad. People, I think, hungry and looking for big stuff.
For 30 years, Mohammed Salam has cooked food next to the targeted jewelry store.
It was like a movie.
Shocking situation now leaving many on alert.
They make me scared. I have to protect my business, family.
I mean, he did the right thing.
No description has been given of those suspects, but we counted at least 21 people. We're live in Anaheim tonight. Matthew Seedorf, Fox 11 News.
Matthew, it's just wild to watch that video, and clearly they were well.
And these are usually coordinated. We found that out. There's usually a ringleader at the top of this.
Organized, so they arrived at the same time. What else did you notice in watching that surveillance video?
Yeah, definitely well organized. And just speaking with this business owner, it sounds like they arrived to this location immediately after their last customer of the day was leaving. So they showed up right at that time, very targeted and planned out.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I thought from the way the parking lot looked, the way the employees were acting, like it was right before they opened up. I thought they'd come in like right before opening, maybe 10 minutes or something. But apparently it was right at the end of the day.
Ready with their sledgehammers and bags as well. So much.
That kid got his face on TV. Oh, Van, I want to go back to what you said. Is there a requirement in the Constitution for there to be permits for a protest? No. Here's what you do if you are ever at a protest and they ask you for a permit. You do like Ron Swanson and you pull out your copy of the Pocket Constitution and be like, here's my permit. I'm mixing it up though. He had a note that said he could do it, didn't he? He had a note from himself. I'm gonna give Ron permission. Something about pork. I don't know. It's been like 10 years since I've watched Parks and Rec, and I'm a stoner. Did anybody watch Friends? You got any Friends watchers? I guess a few of you have watched Friends with me in the last couple of days. We've watched a few Friends episodes. Oh, it said I can do what I want. It was like, I can do what I want, Ron. The doctor who supplied ketamine to Matthew Perry pleads guilty.
This October, it will be 2 years since Matthew Perry drowned in his hot tub.
Has it been that long already? Shit.
Following a ketamine overdose. Today, one of the doctors charged in providing that drug to Perry has changed his plea to guilty.
Eyewitness News reporter Monica DeAnda is at the courthouse in downtown LA. She joins us live as today's hearing just wrapped up moments ago. Monica.
Colleen, Phillip, good morning. Yeah, Dr. Salvador Plasencia officially changed his plea to guilty not long ago, and that now makes him 4 out of the 5 people who have been charged in connection with Matthew Perry's death to plead guilty. Now, take a look. This is new video that shows you the moment that Dr. Plasencia was making his way inside of the federal courthouse before he officially changed his plea to guilty. The doctor is accused of supplying Perry with ketamine before his death. At the time, Perry was paying $2,000 per vial of ketamine, while his dealers were paying just $12. The Friends star struggled with addiction for years, dating back to his time on the show. He died in October of 2023. Plasencia's attorney emphasizes the plea agreement states the doctor was not treating Perry at the time of his death, and he did not provide the ketamine that ultimately caused his death.
This is one of those cases that you typically see with federal indictments where co-conspirators begin to plead because they're also interested in some sort of cooperation. We don't know if that's at play here, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're talking to the prosecution about cooperation and that the
All these rich people just out here doing ketamine now, aren't they? That's what's going on.
last person left standing will be the final.
Did Elon get everybody hooked on ketamine?
Here in a few weeks.
Now, the only remaining defendant who has not reached an agreement with the U.S. Attorney's Office is Jasveen Sangha, who prosecutors allege is a drug dealer known as the Ketamine Queen. And
the Ketamine Queen.
She has pleaded not guilty, and her trial is expected to begin next month. Plasencia's attorney released a statement on his behalf saying, quote, Dr. Plasencia is profoundly remorseful for the treatment decisions he made while providing ketamine to Matthew.
She is kind of hot.
He is fully accepting responsibility.
What up, Fire Resist? She can be my GOP mommy.
Distribution. Dr. Plasencia intends to voluntarily surrender his medical license, acknowledging his failure to protect Mr. Perry.
She probably a Republican, right? With her Gucci outfit.
The Ketamine Queen, and sold Perry the lethal dose. She has pleaded not guilty, and her trial is expected to begin next month. Plasencia's attorney released a statement on his behalf saying, quote, Dr. Plasencia is profoundly remorseful for the treatment decisions he made while providing ketamine to Matthew Perry. He is fully accepting responsibility by pleading guilty to drug distribution. Dr. Plasencia intends to voluntarily surrender his medical license, acknowledging his failure to protect Mr. Perry, a patient who was especially vulnerable due to addiction. Now, Plasencia will be sentenced on December 3rd. Until then, he will remain out on.
I feel like she's saying placenta every time she says it, and it's weirding me out. That's what I'm thinking.
On bond, and when he is sentenced, he could face up to 40 years behind bars. Reporting from downtown LA, Monica de Anda, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
You're gonna sentence placenta? I didn't really want to do any more like Ozzy stuff because we paid our tribute to Ozzy, but I feel like this man is gonna be a crowd pleaser for my chat. Henry Rollins remembers his dear friend Ozzy Osbourne.
Ozzy Osbourne, the legendary frontman for Black Sabbath and a reality TV star, has died just weeks after reuniting with the band for a farewell concert in his hometown of Birmingham, England. The Osbournes say he was with his family and surrounded by love when he passed. 5 years ago, he revealed he had Parkinson's disease. Stephanie Elam has more on Ozzy Osbourne's life and legacy.
He was called the Prince of Darkness. And for a half-century, British musician Ozzy Osbourne rocked heavy metal fans worldwide until his death at age 76, just weeks after taking what was called his final bow.
I've been laid up for like 6 years, and it's so, you've got no idea how I feel.
The Black Sabbath frontman reunited with his bandmates for a show called Back to the Beginning in his hometown of Birmingham, England.
From the bottom of my heart.
Performing with
Killer show.
Butler, drummer Bill Ward, and guitarist Tony Iommi for the first time in 2 decades, alongside other music legends Metallica and Guns N' Roses. His family issuing a statement saying during his final moments, he was with his family and surrounded by love. Osbourne's charisma and wildness on and off the stage.
Had I known it was a real battle, I would never have bitten into it.
Transcended music and made him a cultural phenomenon.
Ozzy Osbourne.
Born John Ozzy Osbourne, he left school at 15 and said he found his calling after listening to the Beatles on the radio.
I can remember the first time I heard She Loves You. That changed my life because I thought, that's what I want to do.
Osbourne became lead vocalist of the band that would become Black Sabbath in 1968 and pioneered a daring, genre-defining new sound. The heavy guitar and riff-based albums Black Sabbath and Paranoid captivated audiences in 1970. as Black Sabbath's fame exploded, so did Osbourne's hell-raising behavior. He was fired from Black Sabbath for drug and alcohol abuse in 1979. Those same issues broke up Osbourne's first marriage and followed him for decades.
Have you been tempted to go back to the drug usage?
All the time. I mean, when you're a drug addict, you don't stop being a drug addict because you stop taking them.
But Sharon Arden, the daughter of Black Sabbath's manager, helped get him back on his feet and encouraged him to go solo. Osbourne's debut single, Crazy Train, got the singer back on the rails. Ozzy and Sharon married in 1982, and Sharon managed his career for the rest of his life. Their love was on full display to an entirely new audience in the 2002 MTV reality series, The Osbournes. Ozzy's dry, at times unintelligible humor and relatable parenting challenges endeared him to millions. And the fly-on-the-wall look at the Osbournes' expletive-laden daily life.
Hey, reality TV totally killed
After years of speculation,
the TV genre, didn't it?
Osbourne revealed his Parkinson's disease diagnosis in an interview with Good Morning America in 2020. But Osbourne was committed to making more music. And 3 years later, he won 2 Grammys for his album Patient Number 9, bringing his Grammy total to 5, 3 as a solo artist and 2 with Black Sabbath. In all, Osbourne made over 20 albums and is among the elite group inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice. From Prince of Darkness to reality TV show dad, Ozzy Osbourne was a man, a myth, and a legend.
Our thanks to Stephanie Elam. Now joining me tonight, former Black Flag frontman Henry Rollins, a longtime friend of Ozzy Osbourne's, who also spent time with him on the road touring. Henry, you knew Ozzy Osbourne for decades, both as a fan and as a friend, and we are so sorry.
He's going to have something profound to say.
What will you remember most about him?
I will remember his honesty and the fact that I'm a kind of a pal of his and also a friend of his. And the man you saw on stage was the guy that you got. He was the same person. He was genuine. And that, to me, besides the immense talent, is his enduring quality.
So you first met him back in the 1990s. I've actually seen YouTube videos of you talking about this, and it's pretty funny. What was your first interaction with him like?
We were in one of those severe athletic backstage environments when you play like the big stadiums. Narrow benches, lockers, and we're all just sitting there because that's really not our scene. We're a much smaller band. And Ozzy comes barreling into the dressing room area and says, "Which one of you guys is Henry?" I am. And he's like, "My name is Ozzy Osbourne, man. Welcome to the tour. Play the PA as loud as you want, man. Blow it up if you want to. Have a great time." And he just kind of leaves in a trail of cigar smoke. I was like, wow, that was cool. I'll remember that for the rest of my life. And we did 2 nights with Ozzy, and we just had a great time. He was great to us, great to me. I ended up talking with him quite a bit over the 2 shows. And just, I flew on the family jet, which was, not my life. And he was just a great guy. And as I said, what you saw is what you got with that guy.
It's so funny. I wish you could see your face when you're telling stories about Ozzy and imitating him, because your face just lights up when you do Ozzy Osbourne, which I think speaks to who he was and what he meant to you. Look, he was known for the extremes, right? The drug problems, biting the head off of a bat and doves, urinating at the Alamo, snorting a line of ants with Motley Crue, as one does. I mean, how does that persona fit with the man you knew?
I think, the fact that Ozzy might have found himself without his clothes wandering into the pool in a hotel in Tokyo at 3 a.m. I'll never do that. And so he did that for me. I love that kind of behavior. It's not what I do, but when he did it, I just think it was incredibly cool. And so I think he's just a wild guy who meant no harm.
So Ozzy once told you that he thought that when he died, it would be something stupid like tripping and breaking his neck on something. But instead, he passed, just about 2 weeks after he actually did a show, what was a farewell show with Black Sabbath. And he got to say goodbye to his fans on his own terms. I mean, how poetic is
They didn't snort the ants? I've never heard this story before.
Where Black Sabbath comes from. So all the lucky people at the venue had that moment. And then the rest of us, we get to see it online, but you still get it. And the fact that he passed away so soon afterwards, this is not one of those things, well, we'll do 2 nights in May. There's not going to be that opportunity like next summer. You can't do it this fall. They did it, and then the man slipped away. And so the timing ends up being crazy. And, the 4 members of Black Sabbath, Geezer Butler,
something about Ozzy and Motley Crue snorting ants.
Before you and I have been alive, pretty much. And they got to be together, the 4 guys, one more time in front of fans who truly love them. And it's a love letter from the audience to the band and the band to the audience. And I don't think that could have gone better. It feels like 2 weeks later, the man is gone. And to do it in your hometown, I just think it's just perfect.
What a blessing for all of them. Henry Rollins, thanks so much for being with us. And again, our condolences to you.
Thank you.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has actually put up the induction for Ozzy from last year. So I think we're gonna watch that before we watch some Whitest Kid You Know on the other side. Here's your animal video. I got you a little kitten. I'm gonna have to work on something else because I always got all my animal videos from Facebook. For those who don't know, I've lost my Facebook, my Instagram, my Threads. If you were following me on any of those, if you follow my JustinFREAKIN on Facebook, that's still there. If you message it, Media Winch might talk to you. Because I have multiple people to make sure that page doesn't go away. Media Winch, she'll fuck with people that message the page. It's fun. You'll usually get my auto reply, but I've lost my Instagram and my Threads. And if you were friends with me on my personal Facebook, that doesn't exist anymore. I got completely zucked. So stick with me. We're going to watch Ozzy's induction from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. All-star tribute to Ozzy. And we're going to watch some Whitest Kid You Know on Twitch. YouTube people, podcast, Kick, Rumble. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm JustinFREAKIN. We'll see you tomorrow night on the Troll Patrol, live.